And welcome back. Castle Motorsports Park, round 2 of the Stars Championship Series. It's time to go final racing for our last events of the weekend. Up first, KA Masters. My name is Simon Sykes. I'm joined alongside in the booth by Alexander Searle. KA Masters rolling onto the track now. They'll get set to warm their tires and get ready for their final event. Let's run you through the starting lineup. In 19th, Mingnan Zhu on his lonesome in row 10. Ahead of him, Sean Bailiff and Kevin Simonelik in row 9. In row 8, on the outside, Christopher Horan, one of our fastest drivers all weekend, struggles in the pre-final, goes out, has to start in the back in this final event. To his inside, Anthony Stifler in that 15th spot. Jeff Clyde and Tom Gershner make up row 7. Ahead of them, Bob Davis and Chris Stevens. In row 5, it's Jamie Bradford and Gordon Cameron. Row 4, Chris Kutcher, Brant Estes. Row 3, Brian Daniele and Ryan Kasner. Row 2, John Bonanno on the outside and Jacob Neary on the inside. And your front row is made up of Andy Kutcher in the 296 machine on the outside, and Mark Steele will lead them off to the green flag in the number 234 on the inside. As they get set and get ready, they'll start warming their tires. Heading through the second half of this outlap, I'm ready for some good racing. How about you, Alex?
Yeah, it's looking to be a pretty good race here. I mean, the pre-final was electric, I'd say, for the KA Masters. I mean, Mark Steele snuck out a win there over Andy Kutcher, but really, really good race. Like you said, we lost a few of our top competitors in the pre-final. Christopher Horan, one of our guys that we were expecting to be in the top 5 all weekend long, having to start from row 8 down in P16. Look for him to make up a bunch of ground here, and if the racing kicks off like it did in the pre-final, he'll have a chance at a victory.
Certainly, as they get set, start forming in the lines, they'll head down to the tram lines. Heading through the last corner now, Mark Steele will lead Andy Kutcher around, and they will get set to take the green flag. Final bit of tire warming going on, and they're passing down the front straight into the tram lines. We'll look for the green flag to start our final racing action of the weekend. KA Masters coming up. Waiting, and Mark Steele will take the green flag and lead them down to turn 1. He gets a good start on the outside. Mark Steele issues already, way off. That'll be the 210 machine, possibly. That is Bob Davis out early in this race. Tough break for Bob Davis on the start. More action already through the shark fin as they come through, sort it out, and head towards the hairpin here, Alex.
Yeah, fortunate for Bob Davis there, just to avoid the pond. Don't want to end up there. We've seen a few cars end up there before. Back up front, though, Mark Steele with a good start ahead of Andy Kutcher. That is John Bonanno up into P3. Ryan Kasner makes up a spot now into P4, and I think that's Brant Estes down in P5 now.
Bonanno, the man who has perennially sat in P3 most of this weekend, very comfortable to ride there. Not quite the pace to go out and win it, but he's been at the front all weekend long in that bright fluo yellow comp kart machine. Mark Steele with the KartLink advantage over his nearest competitors. They head through the final couple of corners to round the opening circuit of your KA Masters final.
And Mark Steele still your leader here. Just getting the race going off of Kasner, drops a tire there. Not what we want to see. That's going to really hinder his run on the front straightaway. Let's see if Jacob Neary goes for a move or pushes him. I think he's going to elect to push him here. He knows that in KA, the second you start racing, it makes it really difficult to catch back up to the leaders. Mark Steele, interesting tactic there to get as much arrow as you can. See him, he had the straight arms out and the helmet down, just creating such less drag than everybody else for good straightaway speed.
Yeah, he's tucking down as far as he can into the seat, trying to get as much advantage as he can as they head towards the hairpin. The 296 machine, Andy Kutcher, will get to his rear bumper, not quite able to make a move yet. Bonanno sitting right behind him on his rear bumper in that P3 spot. The top 5 all nose to tail. Just behind them, it's Kasner and Jacob Neary. As we head over the hill and down towards the cell corner, still nose to tail for the top 5-7 drivers. As we round this corner, still Mark Steele over Kutcher, Bonanno, Kasner, and Neary.
Yeah, 5-car breakaway out front, though, but just a little bit further back in P6, Brian Daniele, one of the quickest guys we've seen all weekend long, just hasn't really had, maybe the luck that he would have wanted in the heat races. Working together with, I believe that is Chris Kutcher there. So Chris Kutcher looking to get up to Andy Kutcher there in P2. Has a bit of a ways to go for that, but if those two can work together and make it a 7-car train, that'll be great. Mark Steele, though, look at the way he is tucking in his seat, trying to get as much straightaway speed as possible. He's pulled a bit of a gap there through the tighter part of the racetrack. On the straightaway, you can see how much the draft plays into effect.
These 100cc classes always with the big draft effect down this long straightaway. This 1.2-mile Newcastle Motorsports Complex run in reverse with the addition of this Monza-style shark fin corner. Bonanno looking for moves there. He'll get passed by Kasner to the inside, move Kasner up to P3 as he was the fastest man on track last time by. I take that back. Christopher Rand has moved himself all the way up to P10 already. He is the fastest man on track by 0.4 of a second with a 1:16.17 last time by.
Ooh, Jacob Neary drops a tire there. Yeah, like we were saying, Christopher Horan, there he is. I mean, one of the quickest guys we've seen all weekend, makes a move into Cell Tower corner, not going to make it stick. Good driving there from, I believe that was Sean Bailiff holding the outside. Or no, Sean Bailiff just got passed, so that is Jamie Bradford there holding on. I believe Christopher Horan is up into P9 now. Christopher Horan from 16th to 9th, looking for more here inside to the right-hander. He's going to make this stick. Yes, he will. Push him a little bit wide. P8 now for Christopher Horan. Here comes the 224 driver.
Christopher Horan, the fastest driver all weekend. Unfortunate for him in the pre-final. Going to start way back, but already climbing his way forward. You see Andy Kushner all over the rear bumper. Mark Steele, who's ducking low down in his seat as they start to break away just a little bit from Ryan Kasner and John Bonanno behind. We'll look at the times last time by. It was Andy Kushner with the fastest lap on track, a 1:15.7. Moves him 0.3 faster than his nearest competitors. Christopher Horan up to 8th position already, just 4.2 seconds outside of lead with 11 minutes plus 2 laps remaining. Plenty of time for him to get some work done and try and move his way forwards towards the front of this field.
Yeah, 4.2 seconds sounds like a lot of time in karting, and quite frankly it is, but if these guys start racing like they did in the pre-final, no gap is unattainable for sure. Out front, though, Mark Steele and Andy Kutcher working really, really well together, almost like their teammates. They're not, though, but just kind of this must have been a plan from the get-go. These two very experienced drivers here, especially around this racetrack, knows what it takes to win around here. Ryan Kasner, another guy who's trying to close the gap here, working with John Bonanno. Jacob Neary almost falling out of the draft, but still in play here as it's a 5-car breakaway here in KA Master.
The top two know that Kasner is fast. They have a shared goal in mind. Get away from the Maranello driver in that number 2 machine, your reigning vice champion of the series. He is closing up onto your leaders. Let's see what his lap time was last time by. He was the fastest on track as we expected, 1:15.5, making big gains into the gap of the leaders, and Bonanno's going to come with him, and it's a top 5 breakaway as Jacob Neary comes with him, and oh no, Neary off the track. The 245 machine struggling on the exit of turn 2. He's going to lose seconds of time off of that. That's a tough issue to start this final. Now it's a 4-cart breakaway out front, Alex.
Yeah, Neary dropped the tire last lap, dropped the tire this lap, a couple tires this lap actually, put a lot of dirt on the entry to the Monza corner there, see if drivers can get through there, but Christopher Horan looking a little bit further down, 15.2 goes purple. It was 4.2 seconds, now it's 3.8 seconds, and now it's a 4-cart train out front. They're going to inevitably start racing here. That's going to bring Christopher Horan back into play.
The top 2 didn't fight last time by. Even so, Christopher Horan making up 0.4 of a second into that gap already by his lonesome. Trying to run down the group in front of him. That'll be Chris Kutcher and Brian Daniele will be the 2 carts in front of him. Up front, in front of that, Jacob Neary and Bonanno, and then you move forward into Kasner, Kutcher, and Mark Steele for the lead of this race. Kasner all over the rear bumper of Andy Kutcher now, and Bonanno right there with him. 2, 3, and 4 all nose to tail. We see Mark Steele ducking low in his seat as he comes down the front straight, and we have 8.5 minutes plus 2 laps remaining in this KA Masters final.
Yeah, Mark Steele's been really, really impressive all race long, really all weekend long. We've seen it throughout the weekend, throughout this tight part of the racetrack. His kart seems to be handling so well. The way he's able to set it up, smooth hands, not a lot of fuss throughout the go-kart there, just able to roll better speed than everybody else. Through here, this is where Andy Kutcher has been really, really strong, as you see he's pushing Mark Steele there around scoreboard corner. Not looking for a move, though. These two guys trying to work together, pull away from Kasner, who last time by I thought was going to make a move on Kutcher, didn't make it stick. These 4 guys trying to break away from 5th.
What I like to see is we have 4 different manufacturers inside the top 4 of this KA Masters final. That Burrell Art out front, right behind him a Red Speed OTK, a Maranello kart behind that, and then the Comp kart in 4th place. So 4 different manufacturers fighting it out for the win in this KA Masters final. Still Mark Steele out in front, but like we've been tracking, Christopher Horan making his way up, still in P8, but has made another 0.3 of a second of inroads into this lead group's advantage. We'll look for him to continue working his way forwards as we come back through the final corner, and Mark Steele ducked down low in his seat as he tries to escape the group behind him.
Yeah, I mean, with Mark Steele being so dominant in those last 4 corners, it makes it really hard for Andy Kutcher to make a move in the I-70 hairpin. I mean, this has been the prime passing opportunity throughout the entire weekend that we've seen. But with Mark Steele, like I said, being so good through the fast 90s, Andy Kutcher not able to make a move, it's going to have to come in one of these hairpins.
And they are not fighting as of yet, still staying in a line, working fairly well together. Kasner sitting there in P3 right behind that red speed 296 machine at Andy Kutcher. And still Mark Steele leading every lap of this race so far. A nice advantage out front. Still nose to tail, the top 4. And I'm assuming we'll see the fighting kick off in the later stages of this race.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, there's still 7 minutes plus 2 laps to go. I suspect no fighting for probably 6 minutes, to be honest with you. These guys very experienced. As we see Kasner, maybe I stand corrected, thought about a move there on Kutcher. That's going to hinder his progress. He's going to fall into the clutches now of John Bonanno. Andy Kutcher drops a little bit of a tire there, exiting the right-hander. Going to give a bit of a gap to Mark Steele. Here comes Ryan Kasner. Got a bit of a run on Kutcher here. But all this is going to give Mark Steele a bit of a gap now. It's all going to close when we get to the straightaway, though.
But like you said, Mark Steele so strong through the last 3 corners of this track will extend his advantage, and it makes it so difficult to pass him down the front straight. Bonanno looking to the inside of Kasner. He'll get up beside him alongside in the dogleg. Through to 3rd place goes John Bonanno.
Yeah, good move there from John Bonanno. Kasner's made a few mistakes these last few laps. Bonanno had enough of it. He wants to be in 3rd now. He feels as though if Andy Kutcher can't get up to the bumper of Mark Steele, he can.
Yeah, Mark Steele with a several kart length advantage out front of Andy Kutcher. Bonanno sitting there in 3rd place, and Kasner back down to 4th. In the back of the frame, Jacob Neary with a 15.5 last time by. That was 0.2 quicker than your leader and 0.4 quicker than the kart in front of him. So he's starting to make inroads into this gap that the top 4 have procured for themselves at the start of this race. Just under 6 minutes plus 2 laps remaining. Christopher Rand up to 7th now, starting to close in on this lead group, Alex.
Yeah, I was about to mention, speaking of inroads, Christopher Rand, fastest kart on the racetrack last time by. Not even his best lap of the race. It's 3.9 seconds, was 3.5, but he made a move there on, I believe, Chris Kutcher, so now he's up to P7 and on a mission there. He's only 0.2 off of Brian Donnelly in 6.
And there he is on your screen in the middle of 2 karts. He's in a bit of a sandwich right now. He'll look to get past the driver in front of him in that Tony kart. That is Brian Daniele in the 292 machine. As they come onto the front straight, Christopher Rand all over that rear bumper. He's going to push him down this straight, maybe looking for a move at the end of the straight, but he'll stay in line. He's going to push him all the way down into the corner and see if they can't work together to make their way forwards towards Jacob Neary, the next driver in front of them.
Very smart driving here from Christopher Horan. He knows, he sees the gap between Daniele and Neary. It's almost 2 seconds, so he knows his best chance right now is to be 2 karts faster than 1. Jacob Neary alone right now, 1.4 seconds behind Ryan Kasner in 4th. So he feels as though if these 2 can work together, he can catch up to Neary and maybe even work with him to catch up to the top 4.
Yeah, Christopher Ham, with all his experience in the F1600 Formula Ford style cars, that's draft racing as well. So he's plenty experienced in how to manage races like this, how to work his way forwards while not fighting too heavily. The guys at the front are doing a pretty good job of that as well. Not too many moves being made. Kasner's still in 4th. It's still fairly nose to tail, and with a couple kart length advantage, Mark Steele is going to accelerate his lead through the last 3 corners of this lap.
Yeah, Mark Steele is, like I've been mentioning all race long, ultra impressive through those last few corners. Kutcher, though, has actually put together a good complex there. He's got a decent run on the straightaway. Mark Steele, it's a very unique style that we've seen from him to get as much arrows as he can. It seems to be working for him so far down the straightaway.
He's got a unique style, like you mentioned. Most drivers tucking their heads down on the straight. He instead slides way down into his seat, trying to get all the aero advantage he can down that front straight. But look at Andy Kutcher, 0.3 faster last time by. He's closed up to that rear bumper of Mark Steele as they head through the hairpin in the infield section of this track. He's got about a kart length lead over Bonanno now in the top 2. Nose to tail, a little bit of a gap back to 3rd and 4th now, Alex.
Yeah, they're dropping John Bonanno there. Really, the reason is because John Bonanno has actually left Ryan Kasner, so he has no drafting partner. These 2 guys, Mark Steele and Andy Kutcher, are working together very, very well here. And Ryan Kasner not able to stick to the bumper of John Bonanno. It's actually holding him back. And Jacob Neary in the back of our frame there, you see he's actually faster than the entire group ahead of him besides Andy Kutcher. So here comes Jacob Neary. He might get to the bumper of Kasner soon.
Yeah, third and fourth last time by, a 1:15.7 for each. But behind them, Jacob Neary and Brian Daniele, 1:15.5 for both of those drivers. So gap is being closed in bit by bit. Out front, still Mark Steele with a kart length advantage over Andy Kutcher. This time he is going to duck his head down a little bit as well as slide down in the seat. I love watching that. It's so fun to see him look for every advantage he can get down the front straight. Andy Kushner still right up around that rear bumper, and Bonanno coming with as well. They've started to drop Ryan Kasner in that fourth place outside of draft range now. He's going to have his work cut out for him to get back to these top three.
Yeah, looking a little further down in P6, Christopher Horan has gotten by Brian Daniele. Feels as though Brian Daniele was holding him back. He wanted to work with him, wasn't really working out. He sees the gap to Jacob Neary extending, so he feels as though P6 is better for him right now.
Yeah, Christopher Ham not with the fastest last lap as he was making a pass, but still with the fastest overall lap of the race so far by almost 0.2 of a second. So a very, very quick kart in that 2:24 machine, currently sitting in P6. Down to 4.9 seconds outside the lead, though. With only a minute and a half plus 2 minutes remaining, it's going to be a tough road forward for Christopher Rand. There he is on your screen coming through the last couple of corners of this track. You can see the gap in front of him. It's pretty wide. We can't see any other drivers on your screen currently, so this may be where he sits, but still a impressive drive nonetheless for the 2:24 machine that's been so fast all weekend here, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, Christopher Rand was P6 in the pre-final when he wasn't able to finish the race, so he fell to P16. So he's back to where he would have started initially in the pre-final, so probably a bit frustrating for him there, but P6, good run for Christopher Horan here as we have 50 seconds plus 2 laps remaining here in the KA Masters final. Mark Steele has led from start to finish so far. Andy Kutcher has been put him under fire the entirety of this race. John Bonanno has left Ryan Kasner, and in fact, Ryan Kasner has fallen to the clutches now of Jacob Neary back in 5th.
Yeah, it's heating up with 3 laps remaining. It'll be 2.5 now as they're halfway through this lap. It's still Mark Steele and Andy Kutcher taking off out front. They've led every bit of this race so far, stayed in line. Bonanno there still trying to reel them in. He's made a few kart links inroads into that gap out front, and Kasner dropping off the screen. He, like you said, falling into the clutches of Jacob Neary right behind him. He's only a 1:15.9 last time by to Jacob Neary's 1:15.4, so a half second quicker for Jacob Neary right behind him as he works towards that 4th place position here.
Yeah. We got 30 seconds now plus 2 laps, so we're going to have, oh no, it is 2 to go. We have the 2 to go signal here, so Mark Steele sees the 2 to go sign. He had a rocket of a launch on the exit of that final corner there. No moves to be made here in the I-70 hairpin. John Bonanno locks the brakes up there. Andy Kutcher caught him off guard. Bonanno drops a tire on the exit. Bit of overdriving now. You see these guys getting a little bit anxious here with 2 to go.
They're going to start pushing hard, and Mark Steele there for a second set the fastest lap of the race last time by. That was quickly dropped by Christopher Horan, still back in 6th place, and there's not much he'll be able to do. He's in wide open space currently, but a 1:15.090 for the driver. We expected to keep moving forward out front. This battle is going to heat up as we approach the final lap of this race. Mark Steele still leading over Andy Kushner. They've been comfortable to sit here for most of the race, but on the last lap, I'm assuming we're going to see some action break out here, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, the question really is, where does Andy Kutcher pass? Because we know Mark Steele's strong suit is this part of the racetrack right here. It's made it almost impossible for Andy Kutcher to get a run onto the I-70 hairpin, so it's going to have to come into the infield section of the racetrack. And you'd think Andy Kutcher has had 15 minutes plus to decide where he's going to make a move, so hopefully he has a plan here with 1 to go.
He's a little bit closer this time by. We'll see what the draft does for him down the long straight as he'll come and take the white flag. Bonanno there still in frame. We have a 3-kart fight for the win of the KA Masters final here today at Stars Championship Series in Castle Motorsports Park. Mark Steele down low to the inside to defend a bit. He'll set up for the corner on the exit. Bonanno off the track, drops 2 tires on the exit. Mark Steele defending into the shark fin, and Andy Kushner still all over his back bumper, Alex.
Yeah, with all his defending, it's brought John Bonanno back into play, even with the mistake out of the I-70 hairpin. Good exit from the Monza there from Mark Steele. He's able to take the full racing line there, exiting the hairpin. Andy Kutcher's got a decent run now in the showcase corner. He's going to make a move. Steele goes middle of the racetrack there. Andy Kutcher staying to the rear bumper. Here comes John Bonanno as he enters cell tower corner coming up soon here. Andy Kutcher pushing Mark Steele up the hill. Steele's going to have to defend here in the cell tower for sure.
And no moves being made in the cell tower as of yet. They're waiting for the end of this lap. Bonanno all over the rear bumper, Andy Kushner. Mark Steele still with the kart length advantage. It's going to be tough for Andy to make a move with just 3 corners remaining and Mark Steele's strongest part of the track. This might be the way they finish. He is closing up just a little bit, but as they round the final couple of corners, it's going to be a fight. Andy Kushner and Mark Steele, who's going to take it? Mark Steele with the advantage. He'll come out heading to the last corner, and Mark Steele round the final corner and will win your KA Masters final round 2 of the Stars Championship Series. He takes it.
What a run there for Mark Steele. I mean, flag-to-flag victory. Just ultra impressive there for the Burrell Art driver. I mean, like we were mentioning all race, I think the thing that won him the race was kart setup for sure. Those last 4 corners was just unreal. On rails the entirety of the time. You know, I don't want to put it all on kart setup. You know, he's a really, really good driver. I've raced against him quite a bit in Briggs a few years ago. Really good, really ultra-talented guy. But, yeah, just super impressive all race long. Andy Kutcher couldn't make a move. Really the first time all weekend that I've seen somebody not able to get a run down to the I-70 hairpin, and that's what won the race for Mark Steele.
Mark Steele played that one perfectly. We saw a lot of good sportsmanship out of both Andy Kutcher and John Bonanno as they congratulate Mark Steele on his victory. Let's take you through the order, how they ended up. Mark Steele, your winner. Andy Kutcher, P2. Rounding out your podium, John Bonanno in P3. Jacob Deary able to get by Ryan Kasner in the closing stages of that race to take 4th and 5th home. Christopher Rand comes back from the back of the field, finishes P6. Brian Daniele, P7. Chris Kutcher, P8. Sean Bailiff comes home P9. Anthony Stifler rounds out your top 10. Just farther back, Meenan Zhu, P11. Chris Stevens, P12. Jamie Bradford, P13. Gordon Cameron, P14. Jeff Clyde, P15. Com Gershner, P16. And Kevin Semenelik rounds out your KA Masters field. When we come back, it's Micro Swift final action time. We'll be back after this short break. And welcome back to Newcastle Motorsports Park from round 2 of the Stars Championship Series here. It is King of the Castle. Up next is Micro Swift action. We've just had the KA Masters take to the track, one of your oldest classes. Here, now we have the youngest. These kids, age 7 to 9 years old, will take to the track for their final race of the weekend. Let's go ahead and run you through their starting order. 23 drivers make up this field, make that 24 actually. Trip Golnick riding shotgun on the field. He'll be side by side with Liat Simonellik in row 12. In row 11, Hudson Howard and George Zeminski. Row 10, Drake Williamson, Callahan Myers. Row 9, Griffin Bukic and Christopher Lavoie. Row 8, Anthony Mazzuculo and Caleb Smith. Row 7, Riley Dobelier and Austin Taylor. Row 6, Bryson Scales and Parker Stewart. Row 5, Tatsumi White and Sterling Mulata. Row 4, Cade Wolf and Asher Ferris. Row 3, Danny O'Gara and Lawrence Perriman. Row 2, Enzo DeGeneiro and Colton Schniegenberg. And your front rows making up the leaders of your Micro Swift final. On the outside, the number 9, Jake Benaglio. And to his inside, leading the field to the green, the number 50 of Emerson Lane, as they take to the track and warm their tires, getting ready to take the green.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a pretty exciting pre-final there with Emerson Lane and Jake Benaglio going back and forth. Ultimately, Emerson Lane walking away with the victory over only a tenth ahead of Jake Benaglio. Those two have been the quickest in Micro Swift all weekend long so far. I mean, Enzo DeGeneiro had a really solid round in the pre-final, up 4 spots, started 7th, starting P3 right now. Colton Schniegenberg, one of the quickest guys we saw yesterday. Pre-final, you know, he made up a spot, but about 4 seconds off the lead there, so we'll see if he found a bit of pace from pre-final to final here, but the two guys we're looking at right now, Emerson Lane and Jake Benaglio, they've been the class of the Micro Swift category so far.
Emerson Lane in that Trinity karting group number 50 machine has been so strong all weekend. Perennial front runner here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. They'll round the final couple of corners and they'll get set to take the green flag. A slow start. They're making sure everyone falls in line, gets set where they need to be.
All right, they round the penultimate corner very shortly here. Emerson Lane, like you said, on the Trinity karting group there. Jake Benaglio telling them all to slow down. It's going to be a really, really slow start here. They're heading, because they're going to head down to I-70, a really, really long straightaway up into that heavy braking zone. You want to keep the start as slow as possible here, just so you limit, the risk of incidents, and you just make it much easier for these guys to get the start going.
It's the youngest category on the grid. Want to make sure we keep everything clean into turn 1. We've seen some incidents, especially in the LCQs, even before reaching the first turn earlier today. So hoping for a clean start for all of these drivers as they round the final corner, get set to head to the tram lines, and look for that green flag.
Yeah, here we go. Emerson Lane slowing the field up tremendously here. You see everybody bumping in the background, anxious and eager to get going here, waiting for the green flag. They're hoping to get it very shortly here. Emerson Lane, they're beginning to accelerate just a little bit there. The Trinity karting driver looking to get the green. They've got it here. Whoa, what a start there from Enzo DeGeneiro. They're 3 wide down the straightaway, entering I-70 hairpin. Emerson Lane is going to hold on to the lead here, but Enzo DeGeneiro can't hold on to P2. That is Colton Schniegenberg. He's found himself in the P2. What a start.
Colton Schniegenberg from 4th to 2nd, or from 3rd to 2nd already. It was Jake Benaglio suffering heavily on that start. He'll fall back several positions as the number 90 of Enzo DeGeneiro slots into 3rd place, just ahead of Danny O'Gara, the top 4 breaking out a little bit. Looking for a move, not quite yet. Emerson Lane with a couple kart length advantage. Then your next 3 drivers nose to tail as they head towards the cell tower corner here, Alex.
Yeah, what a chaotic start there. Jake Benaglio fell back to P6. He's found himself back in the P5 there, but not the start the number 9 driver would have wanted. I think Enzo DeGeneiro, caught him off guard there. Timed the start to perfection, made it 3 wide. What a start for him. Actually, the teammate of Jake Benaglio, it was a beneficiary, though, was Enzo.
Yeah, he jumped from that 4th position, slotted right down the middle, moved himself into 2nd on the start. What a start for that number 90 machine, Enzo DeGeneiro. Still Emerson Lane, followed closely behind Colton Schniegenberg, Enzo DeGeneiro, and Danny O'Gara. Your top 4 as they round to complete their first lap of this Micro Swift final at Newcastle Motorsports Park. King of the Castle, round 2 of the Stars Championship Series.
Yeah, Jake Benaglio back into P5 now. Like I said, fell back to P6, past Lawrence Perriman there last time by. Jake Benaglio's going to have to put his head down. You see there's a bit of a gap there, a 4-car breakaway, and then about a half a second back to, or over almost a second now to Jake Benaglio there in 5th. He needs to put his head down. There's a long race to go, 13 minutes plus 2 laps. He's been one of the quickest guys all weekend long, and with these guys, as we see a bit of a mistake there, Emerson Lane goes wide the showcase hairpin. It's going to give a decent run here to Colton Schniegenberg, not going to make it work there, but Emerson Lane made a mistake already early on, cold tires caught him off guard.
And a driver that had issue in the heat race is Cade Wolf with a great drive through the pre-final. He is up into P9, one of our fastest drivers in this category. Look for him to keep working his way forward as we keep eyes on the top 4. Like you said, Emerson Lane with a bit of a bobble out of that corner, but nonetheless, the top 4 still nose to tail with a bit of advantage, actually a pretty healthy advantage over 5th. And then we have the rest of your top 10 all nose to tail as they cycle through the last couple of corners of this 1.2-mile reverse layout at Newcastle Motorsports Park.
Yeah, what an impressive drive here for Danny O'Gara as well, up in the P4 in the pre-final. Started 11th, finished P6, up 2 more spots now for Danny O'Gara in the P4. The MPG driver absolutely flying right now. Enzo DeGennaro goes purple at a 119.9. Cole Schniegerberg pushing Emerson Lane through the I-70 hairpin. These guys know what it takes to win a race here on Newcastle. See Cade Wolf going 3 wide there on the Lennon Norris carts. Oh, 1 cart off. That's the 21. Of, I believe, Parker Stewart. He's getting pushed off at the exit of the I-70 hairpin. Danny O'Gara side by side now with Enzo DeGennaro, not going to make a stick. Enzo holds on for another lap.
Yeah, these drivers up front just need to play it cool. They've got a healthy advantage over P5, who in turn has a healthy advantage over the rest of the top 10. Look for Cade Wolf to work his way forward. Jake Manalio is that driver there in P5, out in no man's land currently, trying to chase down these 4 leaders who are still nose to tail, not fighting as of yet. Still no moves in the cell tower corner. They are close enough, but just comfortable to sit in line early into this final.
I suspect more of the same from what we saw from the KA Masters, guys. These guys know 12 minutes plus 2 laps. There's a lot of laps left in this race. No need to start fighting because in the low horsepower classes, the second you begin to start battling, it creates such you start battling a lot. The gap closes. That'll bring Jake Benali back into play, bring Lawrence Perriman back into play. Like you said, Cade Wolf had a bad pre-final. He's looking to make amends for that. We have a lot of fast guys who are trying to charge through the field, and you start racing early on, it'll bring them into play.
Yeah, and certainly these drivers may be young, but they are smart and talented as they know that the gap they have can diminish if they start fighting. They are content to sit nose to tail, just pushing each other down the straight, trying to build that gap over Danny O'Gara. No, not Danny O'Gara. Jake Manalio's. Danny O'Gara is sitting there in that MPG Motorsports number 67 machine in 4th, part of that lead group we are watching come through the hairpin.
Yeah, different lines that we've seen through the hairpin those last few laps here. Interesting to see the different tactics they've used to try to find any bit of time they can. These 4 drivers working together beautifully right now just to pull away from Jake Manalio. Every lap, Manalio is just falling back more and more. 7/10 last time by. Not a lot that he can do. I mean, you know, his teammate, same equipment, everything, doing 19.7, goes purple last time by, but Jake Manalio by himself, falling back into the clutches now of Cade Wolf, who's on a monster of a run right now up in the P6.
Yeah, that's the difference in draft here. Same kart, same chassis, probably the same setup. However, the difference in draft is about 0.8 of a second for this Micro Swift category around this track, so the top 4 working well together to increase their advantage over P5. If they continue to work like this, we're going to see a 4-kart shootout for the win here in Micro Swift. 10.5 minutes plus 2 laps remaining in your Micro Swift final.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of maturity out of these young drivers here. Like you were saying, youngest drivers on the grid here in the Micro Swift class. I mean, they're about 8 to 10 years old here in this class with super mature driving here. Nobody's even peeked the nose to try to make a move in those top 4. I'm very surprised.
Yeah, one thing I want to key in on is Cade Wolf, who is closing up on the back of Jake Manalio. If they can start working together, they may be able to work their way towards this top 4 group. There they are on screen. Just a couple of kart links separate the two. Cade Wolf, one of your faster drivers on track currently, a 119.7 last time by. It matches the times of the leaders. So he is running strongly with that assistance from the draft of the driver ahead and the number 9 of Jake Manalio. If they can hook up and work together, look for them to head forwards towards the end of this race.
Yeah, but with the pace of Cade Wolf that he's shown, I mean, that 19.7 that he ran last time by, I don't know how much the draft played into a factor of that lap. I mean, he crossed the line 7/10 behind Jake Manalio. Not a lot of draft was in play for that 119.7 that he ran, matching the leader's pace. Unfortunately for Cade Wolf, though, about 5 seconds off the lead pack. He's going to need a bit of luck there to get up to the top 5, but battling with Jake Manalio here, let's see what he can do.
He has a partner to work with now. If they can hook up and use each other's draft to move forwards, we'll see if they can close that gap down. But like you said, still a large gap to make up to get towards that top group. They crossed the line 5 seconds outside the lead, but hooked up now, and it was a 120.4 last time by for Jake Manalio, but a 119.8 for Cade Wolf. Still not enough of the pace to get to the lead. Emerson Lane, your fastest driver on track last time by with a 1:19.497. That is the fastest lap of the race thus far.
Yeah, the top 4 still line astern here. Emerson Lane leading the fray right now with 8 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Colton Schniegenberg has no intentions of making a move anytime soon here. Enzo DeGennaro, the teammate of Jake Manalio, sitting in 3rd. He's the guy that got the rocket of a start that we saw to make it 3 wide in the I-70. Daniel Gara working well with him now. It's still a 4-car breakaway up front.
As they continue to work together, we have not seen a single pass yet, I think, inside this top 4. A little contact there between Schniegenberg and Emerson Lane. Is he just encouraging them to keep moving forward? Let's keep going. Let's get away from these 5th and 6th place drivers. The top 4 still locked nose to tail as they head through the last couple of corners of this circuit.
Yeah, like you said, Cole Schniegenberg just eagering Emerson Lane to keep going forward. You know, just keep working together. You don't want to start racing too early because even though it's a 5-second advantage to the guys in 5th and 6th, anything's possible in the microswift class with the low horsepower, categories. One pass can lose you a second. You do that a few times a lap, all of a sudden they're back into play.
Yeah, certainly. They definitely don't want to fight. Anything can happen if they start fighting. We'll see Colton Schniegenberg right up on the tail of Emerson Lane as they head through the shark fin and towards the hairpin in the infield section of this track. The draft giving him such a big advantage down that long main straight. By the time they get over here, they have the pace they need to close out the lap. But if we look a little farther back, Danny O'Gara, fastest last time by a 1:19.5, about 2 tenths faster than your leader. So those 3rd and 4th karts still hanging in right there, just a few kart links back, still nose to tail for the entire top 4.
I mean, the question is, Simon, when does Colton Schniegenberg make the move, right? There's still 6 minutes plus 2 laps to go. It looks to me at this point in the race, the energy kart driver of Colton Schniegenberg is a little bit faster than Emerson Lane. He's been pushing him throughout the entirety of the last few laps. Throughout this section, though, Emerson Lane is a bit quicker, but Colton Schniegenberg, for the majority of the lap, is pushing him around the racetrack, just planning when he's going to make the move. The question is when.
Yeah, if I'm Colton Schniegenberg in this position, I'd be more than comfortable to sit here for the next 5 minutes, at least until we get the 2 to go. We are, you know your group's fast, and you're checking out on the karts behind. You don't think you're going to be able to break the top 4 as they're all locked into that draft. Danny O'Gara just fading back a little bit, but not enough to where you want to start making any moves yet. Just be comfortable where you are and set up for the end of this race as he closes up on Emerson Lane, trying to cross him over just a little bit on the exit. No major moves being made. No defense into the hairpin as they are very comfortable to ride as they are.
Yeah, Schniegenberg got into the bumper there of Emerson Lane into the Monza corner. Like we were mentioning, though, just keeps pushing him around the racetrack. They're right closing up to the bumper in the showcase corner as well. There is Schniegenberg. The bit of a mistake they made in Monza corner brought Enzo DeGennaro and Daniel Gara back into play. Through the fast part of the racetrack, though, Schniegenberg and Emerson Lane seem to pull away just a little bit from Enzo and Daniel Gara. But like you're saying, not enough to make any difference in the top 4. These top 4 are going to stay line astern for the entirety of the race.
When we're looking at this Micro Swift category and we're talking about the draft, we're looking at about a 1 second margin to the kart behind. That's when you start feeling those effects and you start picking up that speed and you're able to catch very quickly to the kart in front of you. So with a 5.2 advantage out back to the number 5 driver, there's no concern of any kind of tow happening. And with these karts, there's very little tire deg. You're not getting any aero wash off the nose of the kart in front. So it's all draft all day as they head towards turn 1 with 4 minutes plus 2 laps remaining. Still Emerson Lane, your leader, followed closely by Colton Schniegenberg, Enzo DeGennaro, and Danny O'Gara, your top 4 and your fighters for the lead of this Micro Swift final.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the air wash. That's what makes classes like these so fun to watch. I mean, we've seen it with the OKN guys. I mean, really, really fun racing to see, but we see them through the fast corners struggle a bit with the aero wash compared to the guys in Micro and Mini Swift. Like you're saying, no tire deg, not enough aero to even create a problem through the corners. So we can see guys like Colton Schniegenberg. Oh, there's a bit of a bobble there from Enzo DeGennaro. They're starting the race now, and that bobble has made them lose ground. Daniel Gara is going to do a crossover move up the hill here, move the MPG driver up into P3. They can't race too much longer, though, because they'll lose ground to Colton Schniegenberg.
They need to hook up right now, get back in line, and chase down the leaders. It looked like Danny O'Gara just got into the back of Enzo DeGennaro a little bit, got him a little bit sideways, and was able to slip through, but they're going to have to head down. You see him calling for a draft, tapping his helmet down this short chute to the last couple of corners as they want to run down Colton Schniegenberg and Emerson Lane as quickly as possible. But the top 2 drivers, seeing that, they're going to want to check out as quickly as possible. possible.
Yeah, exactly. Good job by Enzo Di Gennaro to get right back to the bumper of Daniel Gar. You see him frantically tapping his helmet saying, please push me. We're losing ground to the top two here. Colton Schniegenberg putting on a real mature drive here, being just very patient behind Emerson Lane, buying his time. He has 3 minutes plus 2 laps. There's still at least 5 laps to go here at around new Castle Motorsports Park. It's a long lap here for the Microswift guys, and Schniegenberg's doing a great job so far.
And they're going to try and check out that gap, expanding bit by bit from second to third. Colton Schniegenberg desperately pushing Emerson to try and get away from Danny O'Gara in that MPG Motorsports number 67 machine.
Yeah, Schniegenberg still pushing Emerson Lane around. We'll see the gap. Last time by, it was 8/10 between Schniegenberg and Daniel O'Gara. Let's see if it extends or decreases there. It looks to me like it's extending quite a bit here because Enzo Di Gennaro not able to really get back to the bumper. He's going to make a move. What a late move there on Daniel O'Gara. Let's see if he makes it stick. I think he might have there. The top two still working together, and he has. Enzo Di Gennaro back to P3. What a move on Daniel O'Gara. All this racing, though, is going to extend the advantage that Schniegenberg and Emerson Lane have on these two guys.
That's definitely going to hurt their chances of getting back towards these top two, and they're not even in frame as we speak currently. It's a fairly big gap out to the top two, so fighting not the move for third and fourth right now, but the advantage is that Emerson Lane and Colton Schniegenberg aren't as hooked up as they have been in laps past. They've been nose to tail. Currently, about a kart length separates them. He'll catch him by the end of the straight. But it's a large gap there outside of draft range now from the P2 machine, so it's whatever they can do to work together to try and move their way forwards. And swapping positions like they have been is not helping that.
Yeah, but like we were mentioning, a pass around this racetrack with the lower horsepower karts, the question was, how much does it cost you? I mean, last time by with Enzo Di Gennaro and Daniel O'Gara racing, they lost a second to the leaders. So there's the answer, really. If you go for a pass and you don't make it stick, chances are you're going to lose at least 8/10 to a second around this racetrack.
Those two moves we saw just a lap ago might have been the deciding factor on our final shootout for the win here. It went from 4 drivers to 2, 54 seconds on the clock. I'm sure they'll cross the line with enough time to reset themselves, and it'll probably be 3 to go next time by. Emerson Lane still leading over Colton Schniegenberg.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, if Schniegenberg makes a move too early, it'll bring O'Gara and Di Gennaro right back into play. Like we were mentioning, a pass around this racetrack, we see, Schniegenberg slides a bit around the left-hander there. Not going to cost him too much because the draft's going to put him right back into play here. 30 seconds plus 2 laps to go. They're going to have 3 to go next time by here, or this time by, 2 to go next time by. Schniegenberg with a good run on Emerson Lane. Does he make a move? Schniegenberg with his best lap of the race so far when it matters most. Doesn't even think about it. They've extended their lead even more now to 2.3 seconds over the guys back in third and fourth.
Schniegenberg playing this one perfectly so far, just hooked to that rear bumper Emerson Lane. You're never going to get away from him, so what's the point in passing him yet? The only risk is falling back to the drivers behind you, so he's sitting there as long as he can. If I'm him, I'm waiting to the last possible moment to try and make a move. You've had the pace. You've been up his bumper all race. Now it's just about securing your first and second spots away from the drivers in third and fourth.
I mean, around this racetrack, there's plenty of passing opportunities to be made. To me, the best one, at least for Schniegenberg, he gets really, really strong runs exiting the final corner into the I-70 hairpin. That seems to be the move, and that's where I expect him to make the move here, because once you pass this double left-hander here, it becomes really difficult to make a move. Your last real opportunity is down this back straightaway if you get a good enough run. But through the last 3 corners, you'd have to really send one in to even make a move stick. So the pass is going to have to come through the first or middle part of the racetrack.
And it's an impressive pace being set by these top 2 drivers. Last lap about a half second faster than their counterparts in third and fourth. 2 duos working together. The front 2 working together very, very well as they come by. See the sticks. It's 2 to go this time by. We'll see when Colton Schniegenberg decides to make that move. It won't be into this turn this time. Still 2 laps remaining. Like you said, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when.
Yeah, Schniegenberg just being super patient behind Emerson Lane. Not even thinking about making a move there through the Monza. Now through the hairpin here. Not close enough, even if he wanted to there. Emerson Lane putting on very impressive pace. Last time by a 19.4, and so does Schniegenberg on 19.4. The 2 fast karts on the racetrack, 2 fastest laps we've seen all race long, and it comes like 15 laps into the race. Unbelievable stuff from these 2 drivers.
And it's very impressive what we're seeing here from these top two drivers as they continue to extend their advantage over third and fourth. It starts split into groups. They have almost a 3-second advantage to the two drivers behind them that we had been monitoring all race, Enzo De Janeiro and Danny O'Gara. And behind them, it's a further 6 seconds back to Cade Wolf and Jake Manalio as they work together. They were 2/10 quicker than Enzo and Danny last time by, but it won't matter for much as the gap is too big. A big slide there for Colton Schiegenberg through the final couple of corners. Coming back to the white flag, this time by for Emerson Lane.
Yeah, how much is that slide going to affect Colton Schneeberg? The draft is huge around this racetrack, but there's a big bobble there on the penultimate corner, but he's got to run anyways. Schneeberg going to the bumper of Emerson Lane. Emerson Lane has to go defensive with the I-70 hairpin. Look for a crossover movement by Schneeberg. Not going to make it stick. Emerson Lane's going to have to go defensive now to the Monza corner. Schneeberg around the outside, not going to make it work. Emerson Lane defensive again. White lining around this racetrack. Schneeberg going to go for the crossover move. Look for it into the hairpin. Emerson Lane goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Schneeberg to the top of the racetrack. Over, under, incoming here, exiting, scoreboard, hairpin, not going to make it stick there. Colton Schneeberg hit the bumper. Emerson Lane gave him actually a bit of a boost out of the hairpin.
And he's been defending every corner of this track so far, a benefit that he has gained from stretching that advantage over third and fourth. No worries there, so he can run defensive this entire time. He's defending every single corner possible. Emerson Lane to the bottom of the track into the cell tower corner. Colton Schneeberg to the top, looking to cross him over. He'll get to that bumper on the exit of the corner, but not quite there to make the move yet. Still running wide, trying to find any way past Emerson Lane that he can. We're coming the last few corners of this track. We'll see, will Colton Schneeberg try anything? He's looking to the inside, looking, and he's side by side. Has he done it? There are 2 corners left. Side by side still as Emerson Lane holds the lead over Colton Schneeberg. They come to the final corner of the track. Emerson Lane is a bit defensive, but he will secure it, and he will take the victory. It is Emerson Lane winning your Micro Swift final, round 2 of the Stars Championship Series. What a drive for the young driver in the Trinity Motorsports number 50 machine.
Unbelievable defense there from Emerson Lane. I mean, Schneeberg was just hounding on that last lap all over the bumper of that Trinity Karting Car Republic driver. But Emerson Lane, even when I thought Schneeberg got the side pod to the side of him there in that third to last corner, held the outside, got the inside for the left-hander, and holds on to take the victory. What a run for Emerson Lane. Let's run you through your top 10 here in Micro Swift. Emerson Lane, 0.08 of a second ahead of Colton Schneeberg. Enzo De Janeiro is going to hold on to a podium finish after that rocket start that we saw from him to finish P3. Daniel O'Gara, the MPG driver, finishes in 4th. Jake Manalio, your front row starter, falls back to P5. Cade Wolf, good run for him, up into P6. Sterling Mulata in P7. Tasumi White in P8. Parker Stewart P9. And in P10, we had Bryson Scales. P11, Caleb Smith up 4 spots. Anthony Mazzuocolo up 4 spots. Christopher Lavoie also up 4 spots. Lauren Perriman, we didn't get to see what happened to him, but Lawrence Perriman, down 9 spots in 14th, and Austin Taylor rounds out your top 15. When we come back, we're going to get ready to go Master Shifter Racing. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to Ohio Kart Parts, the Midwest's largest Burrell Art racing go-kart dealer. We carry Burrell Art, Daniel Ricciardo, Charles Leclerc, and Robert Kubica brand of go-karts, as well as parts from names you trust. Chassis components from Freeline, engines from IAME, Briggs & Stratton, and soon-to-be Tillotson, electronics from AIM Technologies, MG Tires, Taika Axles, seating from Tillett, Arai helmets, and 3/10 race products. Visit us online at www.ohiokartparts.com, at our facility in Lorain, Ohio, or at the local track on race weekends. If we don't have it, call us at 440-628-KART. That's 5278. And we will do what we can to help you out.
Welcome back to Newcastle Motorsports Park for King of the Castle. 2 main events down, folks. We've still got plenty more coming your way. It is time for the Rock Shifter Master Division to head on to the race, the Pro Shifter Master Division to head on the racetrack. The subcategory Rock Shifter Master in them as well. Let's take it to the starting lineup here again. Joe Ruck, the reigning Pro Shifter Master champion, will lead the field off on that Vermont Kart Company Maranello, the number 1 plate from position number 1. Joining him on the outside of row number 1, it'll be his teammate Justin Kelly in the number 686 fellow Vermont Kart Company Maranello. Row 2's got Evan Batt on that HMG factory kart to the inside, to the outside. John Crow aboard the TB kart machine. Evan Batt was one of the fastest drivers in that pre-final. Crow struggled a little bit but held on to a second row starting spot. Robert Feege, the number 2 plate holder, will roll off in position number 3 in that black and gray VTM racing team machine. And starting in the 6th spot to complete the 3rd row, it'll be Michael Gouache, who was the fastest driver on the racetrack at the end of the pre-final. Had a long way to go forward. Spoke to him a little bit during the lunch break. He said it's been a new go-kart for him here this weekend. Just a lot of working out the kinks, little bugs, little hiccups here and there, and they feel like they've got a really fast piece to fight with here in the main event. He rolls off 6th on that SRP factory race team Maranello. Row 4 has Mike Rivera, the pole man for the Rock Shifter Master Division, rolling 7th overall to his outside. Lance Lane on that DRT North America DR chassis. Row 5's got Bradley Danoff and Carlos Lopez 2nd and 3rd currently in the Rock Shifter Master subcategory standings. They roll off 9th and 10th in the overall. Then you've got Ryan Frank on the inside of row 6 alongside Hugh Templeman, the reigning Rock Shifter Master champion. Tiffany Kelly and AJ Nowt on row 7. Scott Presti had a terrible luck deal in the pre-final braking. He rolls off Shotgun Charlie on the field to his outside. Kelly Johnson in the 514. The red flag comes down. We go to the start lights presented by Track Systems North America, and we get set to go racing and Pro Shifter Master. A little bit of an awkward start for everybody, especially for Justin Kelly. He'll lose 2, 3 spots off the line, and Evan Batt goes to 2nd. Crow under fire for 3rd. Kelly trying to get back on him. Michael Gouache to 5th, and way off the racetrack goes one of the CKR racing team machines as Joe Ruck leads everybody out of the shark fin for the very first time.
Joe Ruck with a strong start there. Like you said, awkward start for this gearbox class off the line. A standing start, one of the only 2 times we'll see it in the finals here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. But Joe Ruck and Evan Batt take to the lead, 1st and 2nd respectively. A few kart links separate them, and a nice gap behind as we start this opening circuit of your Pro Rock Masters.
Yeah, the Pro Shifter Master, Pro Rock, and the Rock Shifter Master combined division. Again, the overall Pro Shifter Master Division exits turn 14. Joe Ruck, the leader there on the number 1 plate, continues to show the way as he has been here on Sunday and really was phenomenal yesterday in the 2 heat races as well. He'll put 1 lap in the books this time by, and we'll get a good look at that lap time board as it comes across. Just starting the timer of how much time they've got left here in this one across the line for Joe Ruck and company. A 4 to 5 car length lead back to Evan Batt on that HMG factory kart. Then John Crow 3rd, who looks a little bit more racy than where he was a couple hours ago in that pre-final. A great start for the Baldozier Racing TB car driver as he runs P3, but Evan Batt even better. He's starting to bring the fight. Great opening sector for the 604. He's down to a car length away from Joe Ruck. Justin Kelly, they're kind of looking on in that 4th position, but I think we've got Evan Batt looking just as good as he did at the end of that. Remember, Simon, of course, he was setting fast time after fast time to end off that pre-final.
Has definitely started this race strong. The top 3 closing in. Joe Ruck not quite as fast as Evan Batt off the rip. Evan Batt going to work on that number 1 plate, the reigning champion of this division, leading the race. It's Joe Ruck out front, but just behind him, John Crow in 3rd, Evan Batt in 2nd. They want a piece of it here, Xander.
Yeah, they'll be looking to maybe challenge down the inside almost for John Crow there going into the turn 16 complex. And look at Justin Kelly as well on this second lap. He might set the initial best time, the 6:86 of Justin Kelly, a 1:08.871. We've got a challenge coming for second. Here comes the Crow Show. John Crow down the inside on Evan Batt. He'll take over P2 out of turn number 2, and Justin Kelly alongside Batt there for third. Couldn't complete and get himself clear, and Joe Ruck now gets gifted a little bit of a bigger gap as a not-so-great exit coming out of that shark fin section, Simon.
Yeah, it looked as if John Crow may have missed a gear coming out of the shark fin section. That shark fin section, that will give Joe Ruck a nice, healthy advantage as second, third, and fourth close up. Justin Kelly looking fairly racy there off the back of Evan Batt as they head towards Cell Tower Corner.
He'll definitely be close enough to challenge you in a moment or two. Again, that is your off-pole man, Justin Kelly, who once again for the second race in a row just couldn't seem to get the start down, and it puts him on the back foot to start the main event. Luckily, he's got more time to track down the race leader than what he did in that pre-final, but I know Joe Ruck probably was just managing that race to the best of his ability in the pre-final with the older rubber. Now brand new sticker MG yellow rubber. Is he trying to just get away early and then put on the parachutes and start saving tires, or does he want to manage it from start to finish? Look at this for second. Here comes Evan Batt back down the inside. He'll retake position number 2 from John Crow, and again Justin Kelly just trapped behind them right now. Can't exactly find a way on by through turn number 4.
They definitely need to be looking for a nice balance of aggression versus patience. 527 machine out early. Marinello Kart alongside the number 1. That is the reigning series champion in your Rock Masters category.
Hugh Templeman alongside Brad Danoff there over in turn number 2. They were all packed tight. I think AJ Nowd was getting by Templeman for the 10th spot overall, and the Rock Shifter Masters second and third collide. Hugh Templeman, Brad Danoff, it gives a big lead in that subcategory to Mike Rivera, while the focus stays at the front of the field. Let's see what Evan Batt can do now. Here's then the rest of the pack coming on by, and there is your Rock Shifter Master current race leader in the subcategory, the 522 Rivera Racing Machine GFC chassis of Mike Rivera. So through the final couple turns we go back down the front straightaway. Evan Batt that time by. Let's see what the lap time looks to be at 1:08.6. Joe Ruck a 1:08.4. That lead opens up by 2/10. It's a 1.2 second lead and growing for Joe Ruck by the looks of things. Batt, Crow, Kelly, Gouache, your top 5. Let's go down to pit lane here for the first time this afternoon. Hear from Caleb Vieska and Alexander Searle. Boys.
Thank you, Xander. I'm here joined by Ryan Perry. Ryan, firstly, you have 2 drivers up in the top 5 in OKN, and then you have Josh Campbell up in the top for KA. How does it feel having both of those guys up there?
Really good. Those boys have been putting in a lot of hard work. We're struggling a little bit in OKN, but we're getting closer. Closer we get to the final, we're hoping we made the right changes going in and have a chance.
Exactly. So going back to OKN, you have Josh Campbell and Brandon up there. They're lacking a little bit of pace to Alex Stanfield. So what are you telling these boys going into this race? Are you telling them to work together, or are you just telling them to push to the front to try to beat Alex?
The biggest thing is try to get a good start and not overdrive. If we can keep all 4 wheels on the track, not drop wheels here and there and getting dirt on the tires, just keep everything under you and just try to not overdrive, because I think that's kind of the problem that we've been struggling with a little bit.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Back to you, Xander.
There you go, hearing it from the team boss himself, Ryan Perry, giving you the intel saying, hey, we're just got to work on the nut between the steering wheel and the seat, and we will be able to have a fighting chance. As look at this, what a battle for third going to turn number 6. Justin Kelly down the inside on John Crow, and he'll complete the pass.
And that will give Joe Ruck and Evan Batt a nice advantage over the drivers in 3rd, 4th, and 5th as that group begins to tighten up. Like I was saying, we're looking for a nice balance of aggression versus patience. This is one of your faster, high horsepower categories. We're going to see some tire degradation, some aero wash in these karts. Where are these tires going to be come the end of this race? It all depends on how hard you're pushing at the start here. We're seeing a lot of aggression in this midfield to start this race here, Xander.
How about Scott Presti? Started dead last on the field, P15. He's carved his way up to 6th. He's at the back half of the leaders, only 3 seconds away from the lead. lead, and he's on the bumper of Michael Gouache, who has hunted down John Crow. So 4th, 5th, 6th on your screen down the front straightaway. Gouache has a big run. He's going to poke a nose down the inside. That SRP Factory Race Team Maranello blows the doors off of John Crow's TB cart. He'll get through, and a big mistake from Scott Presti as he got a little bit too close there, and the mistakes really get magnified here in the gearbox classes. You have to quickly try to find the right rev range to get into when you kind of get a little bit sideways, Simon.
It's definitely a little tougher than your single speed categories where all you do is just lay the power down. You have to be in the right gear and the right rev range. Like you mentioned, it's a very technical driving style, getting everything perfect. Like you said, mistakes are amplified, and Scott Presti dropped back a little bit, but is making his way back to that rear bumper of John Crow in front of him.
Yeah, John Crow now 2-3 car lengths back from just ahead, of Scott Presti. He's already a good ways back from Michael Gouache, and the backward slide continues, unfortunately, for that Baldozia Racing TB kart driver. Scott Presti now back onto the bumper again, looking to continue his forward drive from dead last on the grid. He's now on the cusp of cracking the top 5 with more in the tank on that Ralph Schumacher kart VTM Racing Team machine. Here he goes inside. This will be a nice and easy pass, and he completes it by the kink at turn number 1. Little bit sideways there on the rear brake bias into turn number 2, but he hangs on. And so Scott Presti now into the top 5 on the RS number 608. Let's give you an update further up the order on lap times. Justin Kelly, fastest driver on the circuit, lap time by 0.3 better than race leader Joe Ruck, and 0.3 better than Evan Batt. We've got a challenge coming for P2 here, Simon.
Definitely the gaps are closing as they charge forwards into the cell tower corner. Like you were saying, that bias adjustment is something unique to these gearbox classes. You have both front and rear brakes and a knob with which you can adjust how much pressure you're applying to each side of the cart. Maybe a little bit too far rear on that brake bias for Presti. If you get a little bit too far to the rear on the bias, you'll start backing into the quarter, sliding in. So they'll be all over the adjustments, trying to get their cart in a perfect window for the last 6 minutes plus 2 laps remaining of this race.
And you'll typically see them make that adjustment by reaching their left hand down below next to their knee. That's where most will have that adjustment knob on the brake system to try and typically dial it forward for a split second to give some more front brake and make a dive bomb pass, and then kind of dial it back to have more rear brake to be able to back it into the corner a little more. Kelly now has cut it down to about 2/10 between himself and Evan Batt. He's almost within striking range of the driver in second. The update on lap times that time, he was still quicker by 0.2 to Joe Ruck, quicker by 1/10 to Evan Batt, and then about a 0.5 quicker than the guy in fourth, Michael Gouache, who set his personal best lap that time by. We're getting towards the later stages, though. 7 laps already completed, 5 minutes plus 2 laps to go. If either of these two drivers are going to have a shot at the win, they need to turn those afterburners on now to run down Joe Ruck, who has maintained a very consistent pace, Simon. 108.4s, 108.5s. The race leader here in great shape as he comes onto the front straightaway.
Very solid and consistent for Joe Ruck. Evan Batt still trying to hold off Justin Kelly behind. Justin's going to have to be careful with how close he gets to that rear bumper. The closer you get, the more that air wash effect comes in, and that's going to wear your tires down even more. It's going to make it harder to get past that driver in front. It's one thing to get to him, it's another thing to get by him, as we're seeing that play out here between the two drivers in second and third.
Yeah, not only, of course, do we talk a little bit of that touch of understeer or that air wash effect when you get behind a driver in the high horsepower classes, but more than anything in the shifter class, you're waiting to kind of put the power down. And so the driver in front can adjust their line to just kind of make you hesitate, make you flinch to get the gas the way that you want it, because you're probably driving a little bit different than they are. And that's what we're seeing, I think, a bit for Justin Kelly when he was closer to Evan Batt. And also, again, when you start trying to get away or do a little bit different of where you put the go-kart, you run that risk of going offline, getting some marbles. That's those dark black spots on the outside of the turns. That's pieces of rubber, dirt, and debris. And you get those on the tires, and it's like riding a slip and slide. So you have to spend a lap or two kind of going at a maybe 80%, a 90% ability just to clean the tires back off and make another run as well. We're seeing now, again, Kelly stabilizing that time. Even Michael Gouache went a little bit slower, but for Joe Ruck, the lead at 1.3 seconds, it's coming down just ever so slightly, but at a tenth a lap, they will run out of time. They will not be able to get there with plenty of cushion to battle for them. They need about maybe 2 to 3 tenths a lap like they were gaining earlier, and they're just not getting there. Again, Joe Ruck, that time was 8 thousandths off the lap he did the lap before.
And just a second ago, we had a great shot of the rubber buildup on the edge of the track, what we like to call the marbles on the edge. Like you said, it's a slip-in slide. If you get into those, you have to clean your tires off. It's very hard to continue with the pace. You'll slide all around the track if you get into that rubber and start picking those dirty bits up. Still, Justin Kelly right there about within a car length of Evan Batt, but can't quite get by him as of yet with 2.5 minutes plus 2 laps remaining in this Pro Masters final.
Yeah, so Evan Batt on that Hardin Motorsports Group factory kart there in second, splitting the two Vermont Kart Company Maranellos. Then you got that SRP factory race team Maranello of Michael Gouache in fourth. The VTM racing team Ralph Schumacher kart of Scott Presti in fifth. An update again, another 10th lopped off the gap. They still need more. I just don't think it'll be enough. Ruck's fallen off 2 tenths from his best time. He's still really consistent, and at least they aren't battling too hard here. But for the speed that Justin Kelly had early on, the speed that even Michael Gouache had early on as well, it's just not enough. It's not stayed consistent. If they would have been staying at those 108.1s, 108.2 second laps like they were able to rip around laps 6 and 7, it'd be a different story. But only at a 108.4 for Justin Kelly that time, a 108.5 for Evan Batt. Kelly picked up 2 tenths on the lead. Batt picked up 1. We're only going to get about 4, maybe 5 more laps around here at the most in this final, and that'll be more than enough time for Joe Ruck to just kind of run the clock out and get himself another Stars Championship Series win. It'll be 2 for 2 on the year for the Vermont Kart Company Maranello driver, and a really, really good statement towards defending his title, as here comes his teammate almost to the bumper of Evan Batt here, Simon.
Yeah, Justin Kelly closing in quite a good bit, but his chances of the win are kind of at the mercy of Evan Batt at the moment. He can't really fight without risking losing touch of Joe Ruck in front. About a 1.5 second advantage for that number 1 plate, the reigning champion of this series, who has walked away to a healthy lead. Justin Kelly trying to find a way past Evan Batt as he has for most of this race. This has been the story of the race so far, still sitting about a kart length back here, Xander.
And that time by, bad news for anyone hoping that Joe Ruck might fall off the pace. He set his best lap of the session, 2 tenths better. Joe Ruck and the number 1, 1.4 seconds now out in front. He had a 108.27. Batt did his personal best as well. All these drivers, at this point, there's no more tire conservation. They have checked that clock every time they go across the start-finish line. It'll be basically 3 to go here this time by with 30 seconds left. The 2 to go signal will come out instantly when that timer hits 0, which it will now, and that'll do it for the time part of the race. It'll be 2 to go the next time they get to the line. For Justin Kelly, he's been super close. He's also been super patient. That time they picked back up about a 1.5 on Ruck, but not enough really to do anything with it. So he needs to get at least a second place. That's within reach for Justin Kelly if he can just get a little bit closer to Evan Batt. He's at that 2 kart length bubble. That's too far back, even for these guys with 4-wheel braking to dive bomb him. Needs to get within a car length here to try and make something happen.
It's been impressive how close he's been able to sit throughout the entire race. Like we mentioned, the air wash being a factor. That's the 631 machine having a rough day out here in this race. That is John Crow, a driver that was running strong early on. Unfortunate break for the number 631.
Yeah, we saw that Baldozier Racing TB car driver going backwards. He was inside our top 5 for a good bit of the main event, and unfortunately, it's just not been the afternoon that he wanted, not the good Sunday drive. One driver still on a Sunday drive now is Joe Ruck as the 2 to go signal comes out. Evan Batt has opened that lead up about 5 car lengths, but for your race leader here, another good lap, a decent lap that time. A little mistake for Ruck, actually. He gave up 4 tenths, so Batt closer. It's still only a 1.5 laps remaining here for Joe Ruck, but he's just got to hang on for a little bit. The avid CrossFitter here loves to stay in shape. Both him, his wife, and their kids have a very active lifestyle, and it pays off here with how physical these shifter karts are. It is one of the most physically demanding motorsport machines, forget karting, that you can drive. You've got the power to weight ratio of an F1 car, and so really the F1 guys, the IndyCar guys, they use these as their gyms, as their training. And these guys all 30, 32, 40, 50, even 60 years of age out here racing. Super impressive they're able to do these 15 to 20 minute stints. And as they come to the white flag, Joe Ruck's fitness here being put to the test because Evan Batt is flat flying in that Daredevil Brewing HMG factory kart. He's only 8 tenths back. Let's see what the gap looks like at the white flag. 1 to go. Batt that time by another 10th knocked off. That's not enough. 9 tenths the margin for Joe Ruck to turn number 2.
And it's almost evenly spaced between the top 3 now. Justin Kelly falling off the back of Evan Batt just a little bit, and Joe Ruck maintaining his advantage out front. Like you said, you cannot underestimate the physicality of these karts. So difficult to drive, so heavy, so much G-force running through your body. It's a testament to these master drivers that they're able to run these races at this impressive speed and consistency. Joe Ruck maintaining beautifully through this race so far.
Half a lap to go. The reigning series champion, Joe Ruck, on that number 1 plate. Again, the switch to a completely different go-kart than what he'd been driving the last 3 seasons on the national tour, to the Maranello machine, to a brand new team with the Vermont Kart Company and the Carblos Racing Engines Camp. Debuted at the SCUSA Super Nationals Las Vegas, was a solid run there, won on his opening round of the Stars Championship Series, and Joe Ruck is going to make it 2 for 2. The season sweep continues as the number 1 plate remains on top. Joe Ruck is king of the castle in Pro Shifter Masters.
What a drive by the number 1 plate, Joe Ruck. Some great sportsmanship there between him and Evan Batt. He earned that one, certainly. What a drive from Joe Ruck. Let's run you through the rest of the order real quick, see how they all ended up. Joe Ruck obviously coming home with the win. Behind him, Evan Batt and Justin Kelly, as we saw throughout much of that race, fighting for the 2 remaining spots on the podium. Behind that, Michael Gouache, one of our faster drivers in the category, and Scott Presti rounds out your top 5. Behind that, Lance Lane, Robert Fige, Michael Rivera, your winner in the Rock subdivision category, comes home P8 overall. AJ Nowd P9, Ryan Frankie P10. P11, Tiffany Kelly. John Crow with the unfortunate exit late in the race comes home P12. And the 2 drivers we saw struggle early in the Rock subcategory, Hugh Templeman and Brad Danoff, will round out your field here in Pro/Rock Masters.
So that does it for them on the racetrack. You can see the Stars Championship Series sponsored flags flapping in the wind. It's a nice and breezy Sunday afternoon for King of the Castle at the Stars Championship Series. That's 3 in the books. Coming up next, KA Junior. We saw the pre-finals B&A for the first time since practice earlier this weekend. We'll get 40 total drivers on the racetrack all together. It's the best 40 after everything was shaken out. It's coming your way here next.
I'm Billy Vincent, owner of MPG Motorsports. What we do at MPG is we try to keep it a nice, fun family atmosphere, try to combine sort of the bigger things and of the bigger teams and the professionalism down with sort of some of the fun sort of family-oriented atmosphere. We try to not only develop drivers, but also the parents and the families for just in knowledge in general in motorsports. It all starts in karting. What we try to do is try to help the drivers, the moms, the dads understand the sport of motorsports in general, not just karting, but what it takes to get all the way up through. Whether you end up wanting to be a driver or a mechanic or an engineer, you know, we can help you with that, and that's what we're here for. If you're interested in joining us at MPG, our home base is at Whiteland Raceway Park in Indianapolis, and you can contact us at info@willpowerkart.com. And one of our great people will reach out to you, and we'll try to put the best program together.
Welcome back to the Stars Championship Series King of the Castle and a full field of 40 KA juniors rounding the final couple corners to get set for action here with a few drivers to keep your eye on that'll be starting deep in the field. Of course, Davin Roberts, one of them that got collected late in that pre-final A as they were really going at it inside the top 10, along with, I believe, one more right around with them that'll be starting deep in the 20s, and that would be Austin Olds, who rolls off P30 here for the KA Junior Final. So Austin Olds to the, no, not Austin Olds, sorry, a little adjusted there for the pre-final A results. The drivers that fell back, Davin Roberts along with Wesley Gunler starting deep in the field. But up front, Isaac Melkett on the inside, Luke Powers on the outside. Then you got Ayrton Grimm on the inside of row 2 alongside Mason Walters, and we are full throttle. All 40 go-karts headed down the hill at the end of the Long Pond straightaway to turn number 2. 3 wide, a little bit further back. Couple drivers going low to try and pick up some spots, and we've got contact. 2, 3, 4, and it's a track blockage there. A big bobble, and there's still more contact as they were getting into each other, and he goes in front of the field. Oh no, it is a big amount of carnage over at turn number 2, and there are about 7 or 8 drivers collected, and this right here, they're going to check everybody out and make sure they're okay. That's something that can trigger a red flag. Nobody went up and over. That's the good sign. The officials quick to react there to try and get check in on all the drivers and clear the racetrack and make sure they are all cleared as well. It's now split our pack up from about 20 or 25th on back. Up front leading the way is Isaac Melkett. Luke Powers is second on that Jimmy Simpson Racing Red Speed. Mason Walters is third. Ayrton Grimm is fourth. Jackson Wolney currently rounds the top 5 there on that Cosmic in that purple and white 896. Let's see a pass for second. How about Mason Walters on that BJ Orlando Norris kart? He'll take over P2.
What a wild start to that race we had. A chaotic LCQ in the pre-final. The 834 losing a rear bumper. He'll get the meatball flag for that. Maybe a spin as well. And we'll see a move back towards the front. That will be for about 5th place as we see the leaders start to shuffle through turns 1 and 2.
That was a move for the lead on the Mason Walters, and then Ben Hernandez joining the conversation inside the top 5. He picks up a couple there, so good move for Ben. He gets into 5th position right there, but Mason Walters leading the way for the first time in the main event out in front of this 4-car pack. Isaac Melkett back to second. Luke Powers is third. Ayrton Grimm is fourth. You've got Hernandez trailed closely by Caleb Tarter and Jackson Wolney. Tarter on that MPG Motorsports Kart Republic. And then Wolney right there on the Cosmic as into the cell tower corner. A little low for Hernandez going in, but he's able to kind of keep that gap. In fact, he's closing up because they are stacking up for the lead. How about John Antonino Jr. on that Tesoro Raceworks orange and black CRG? He's up to 8th already. He started 12th. And remember, he started on the outside of the front row in that pre-final, got knocked off the racetrack, came across the line at the end of lap 1 in 20th, rebounded at 12th. We know he's got some speed on that number 893. He's now on the cusp of that lead group on the bumper of Jackson Wolney, who he's going to push down this long straightaway. It'll give him a big run towards Caleb Tarter into turn number 2, and he's going to go by Wolney to the inside. John Antonino to the inside for number 7 on the leaderboard as Mason Walters continues to show the way.
And John Antonino, your fastest driver on track last time by, setting the fastest time of the race as he works his way forward towards this group. He'll get to the back of the MPG Motorsports machine number 854 of Caleb Tarter as they try and chase down this lead group. A pack of about 10 drivers makes up the lead group. Currently it is tight, and they will start to battle here in a few moments as they approach the cell tower corner. No moves as of yet. One to the inside, that'll be the 893 CRG machine of John Antonino. Makes up another spot on Caleb Tarter as he continues to work his way forward. A lot of pace through the 893 currently.
Yeah, put Antonino up to 6 now. Little gap up to Ben Hernandez on that Brandon Jarsacrack Racing Lando Norris card in 5th. They've changed spots up a little bit. Luke Powers back and forth with Ayrton Grimm. He'll take over 3rd. Walters and Malka going to get the biggest lead we've seen all day. A big gap here for the top 2 as Powers needs these kids to work with him. They're going to go by Ayrton Grimm because Ben Hernandez knows he does not have a gap out back. Antonino is there. Into 2, here comes Hernandez on Grimm. He'll go by that CRP Racing Tony Kart. Antonino trying to follow, not going to be able to do it. He'll have to tuck back in line, stays in 6th. Now looks to the inside of the shark fin. Move John Antonino into the top 5 on the 893. Here comes Caleb Tarter back in the mix there in 7th. He's caught up to Grimm and company.
Excellent start to this race for John Antonino, up to 5th already. We'll see if he can't keep working his way forwards. That number 893 CRG machine obviously hooked up to start this race. 10.5 minutes plus 2 laps remaining. Still Mason Walters and Isaac Malkuit leading this race by just over a second.
Austin Olds leads that next group right there. You've got Austin Olds, Sam Tutwiler, Cade Yeager in a 3-cart pack trying to crack the top 5. They're a little bit back. Actually, change that up. Ethan Tovo, my mistake. CJ Bowman right there. That's Olds up 2 spots. He's into the 8th position or 9th position now, chasing forward. We saw Austin Olds a lot of Superman moves on the outside lane. He's closing up towards his MPG Motorsports Kart Republic teammate of Caleb Tarter at the end of that main pack. Across the line, the gap is coming down to the lead just barely. Luke Powers that time now 1.1 seconds back from Mason Walters on the BJR LN card. And John Antonino, by the way, well, he's now up into 4th as he's able to get around Ben Hernandez, brought Ayrton Grimm with him. So Antonino and his Tesoro Raceworks CRG position number 4 as they exit out of the shark fin.
Antonino certainly the man on the move here early in this race, but the top 2, Mason Walters, Isaac Malkuit, some of the fastest drivers on track last time by. Mason Walters setting the fastest lap of the race at a 1:14.7. However, Luke Powers sitting there in 3rd, also 1:14.7, just a few hundred shy. So a lot of pace out of these top 3 so far. John Antonino wants to include himself in that race here shortly.
He needs a long way to go forward here as they head through the horseshoe this time. Single file, Antonino, then Ben Hernandez on the Brandon Jarsacrack Racing LN cart, and then all the way back through Ayrton Grimm, along with Jackson Wolney, Caleb Tarter, Austin Olds, and company through the top 10. They'll head through the grid corner and onto the front stretch. This will be lap number 4 at full speed completed, and we're waiting to see where the update is on the gap. 1/10 lopped off by Luke Powers. In fact, going up to 3rd, this is 4th on back. Luke Powers has not only pulled away, he is hunting down the leaders by himself. That Jimmy Simpson Racing black and red speed of Luke Powers in 3rd is the fastest car of the top 7 or 8. He is quicker than the top 2 working together. He's quicker than the pack behind him. He is flat flying right now through turn number 6. Not the fastest car on the racetrack. That honor goes to Austin Olds, but he got a nice toe lap. This is all by himself here, Simon.
As certainly a strong pace out of that red speed cart here early. John Antonino might be working his way forward towards Luke Powers. If he can get there in time, then they might work together and get towards the front of this pack. Mason Walters and Isaac Malkuit still with about a 1 second advantage over Luke Powers and about another 9/10 back to John Antonino. So look for this battle to start heating up here in a few laps.
I'd say it's less than a second now from the last time they crossed the loop. What a lap here for Luke Powers. He's going to be well within the toe distance off of the back of Isaac Malkuit's Beryl Art machine, or a Tony Kart machine as they come to the final couple turns. Mason Walters, that bright white, blue, and yellow Lando Norris kart, continues to show the way, but company is on the way. That time by a 1:14.6 for Walters, a 1:14.5 for Powers, a 0.4 for John Antonino Jr., a 1:14.2 for Austin Olds. He picked up another spot as he got by his MPG teammate in Caleb Tarter. Still a long way to go. It's about 2.5 seconds up the road to the leaders.
2.5 seconds, but he is the fastest driver on track right now. He's got another 3 drivers to get through before he has a chance at the top 3. You can see just second in line in that group. John Antonino slipped right behind Ben Hernandez, but they will be looking to work together to get towards the front three. As you can see, Luke Powers closing in on that lead group. He is there. He's within draft range and just a couple kart lengths back behind Isaac Malkuit in that number 875.
Checking in with race control here. Unfortunately, bad news for the Luke Powers camp. Sounds like a tram line violation. 2 wheels out of the tram lines before the lights went out to go green. All this hard work might be for naught for Luke Powers on the Jimmy Simpson Racing Red Speed. Of course, that's the one thing for the drivers of the Stars Championship Series. The green flags are automatic, but penalties do get called for jump starts and tram line violations. No different than the jump start. We also got the intel. Joe Ruck, the winner of that Pro Shifter Master Division main event, unfortunately a jump start violation for that race winner. That'll penalize him to move Evan back to the top of the leaderboard. So that's your update on the driver that's now into second as this battle continues to rage on for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Austin Olds versus Jackson Wolney, with Olds up into the top 5. Antonino back to 6th. Here's Olds looking for 4th. He'll take it away. And the leaders have gotten a little bit further down the road thanks to this battling, although they've battled a bit amongst themselves. If we check in with the top 3, Luke Powers has gone by Isaac Malkuit. He has now locked his sights onto the 816 Brandon Jarsakrak Racing LN kart of Mason Walters.
An unfortunate break possibly for Luke Powers, as he is the fastest driver on track currently, working his way towards that lead. Tramline violation is going to hurt his chances at the win here, but he has made good progress to solidify himself inside the top 3 with a nice 2.5 second advantage out back for the drivers in 4th, 5th, 6th, and on back. Austin Olds, the driver also on the move here, set a couple of fastest laps of the race here earlier, leads that next group on, trying to chase down the top 3. He's moved his way all the way from 7th that lap into P4. What a drive from Austin Olds so far here. Just under 5 minutes remaining plus 2 laps as we watch Mason Walters still cycle at the front of the field, about a couple kart length advantage, 4 or 5 over Luke Powers.
Yeah, that gap about a half second, holding strong for Mason Walters to Luke Powers. Isaac Malkuit, very interesting here. Would have been surprised that he's been able to hold on to Powers, because it looked like for a moment he was just losing touch with Mason Walters, and Powers has been quicker, but maybe being able to kind of adjust his line a little bit or let that car come to him, he's been able to kind of stay on the bumper of Powers and ride the wave back towards the front. Now, Mason Walters, I'll give him credit. He just set his personal best. It matched the lap of Luke Powers last time by, and they are dramatically going quicker than anybody else on the circuit. Austin Olds' pack, well, they're 3.7 seconds away. It may just come down to these 3, and again, knowing that Luke Powers has a 2-second tramline violation penalty for 2 wheels out of the box looming, he's at least guaranteed a podium if they stay this far ahead of the rest of the group. Unfortunately, it won't matter whether he's 1st, 2nd, or 3rd across the line. He'll dock him down to P3.
Important to note that Mason Walters out front by himself, running consistent 13.9, 14.1, 14.0 around that lap time, which is about what the best of the rest of the field can do in the tow. So impressive driving for that Lando Norris 816 machine of Mason Walters out front. Luke Powers closing in, though, with the help of Isaac Malkuit. That draft working into play as he chases down your leader with 3 minutes remaining. Austin Olds falling a little bit farther back now, about 3.5 seconds back from the lead as that second group continues to fight their way forwards. He and John Antonino linking up, seeing if they can't work together here.
Yeah, let's see what they decide to do. You would think maybe Luke Powers would want to push with Mason Walters. Maybe he'll instantly go by and hope Walters follows him, but I think if they do work together, they might be able to drop Isaac Malkuit off the end. Malkuit's turned it up quite a bit here in the second half. I don't know how easily he'll go away. Walters is feeling the pressure, though. You saw a little dirt get kicked up. That was the leader dropping the left rear tire off the edge of the racetrack. It'll make him susceptible to a big run for Luke Powers at the end of the straightaway. He's already onto the bumper. Looks back, hand in the air. I think he wants to go. Let's see, does he turn 2? He does not. He'll stay in line, and Luke Powers might be happy to wait for a minute or 2 more. They've only got a couple laps left from what I can calculate here. 2 minutes and 15 seconds plus 2 laps to go. Mason Walters, Luke Powers, Isaac Malkuit, 3.7 seconds out on the field and growing back to Austin Olds, who has pulled away a little bit as well here. While the top 3 have come together, Olds pulled away a little bit from John Antonino. They both have broken away from Caleb Tartar, Jackson Wolney, Ayrton Grimm, Ben Hernandez, and CJ Bowman, all kind of spreading out in that second pack. Now just to the two of them, fourth and fifth. Here's your leaders back once again into turn number 11. Mason Walters, half a car length up on Luke Powers.
And I think Luke Powers and Isaac know that they can't afford to fight just yet. The more they fight, the more they could drag this battle back, as Austin Olds and John Antonino, the quickest of the rest of the pack, are desperate for any chance they can get to try and make it into this top three. So the more the top three can stay in line, the better their odds are of securing a podium lockout for these three.
Here we go through the fourth and fifth place cars, all the way down the front straightaway, back up to the top three. Powers pushed Walters, and then this time didn't get as good of a run. Mason Walters still looks really sporty. You can tell that, of course, if they're not getting pushed by the end of the straightaway. If at that point he's just allowing these guys to kind of ride behind him. He's fast enough where if they lose touch, they might not run him back down, just like we saw earlier. Or again, you could see and make a case that Luke Powers might be just kind of cooling those tires back off, dialing his driving back a little bit so he has some cooler temperatures, because while the tire wear doesn't matter too much in most classes, when you get those new sticker MGs, you can overheat them very easily, and that's the type of tire deg that matters mid-race, because if you drive a little bit too hard, go over the limit, heat them up, you've got to kind of slow back down for a couple of laps, let them cool back down, and then try to push again. So whether that's the case, or if Luke Powers really is starting to fade at the end, because Luke Powers, his best lap, a 1:13.809. That last lap, a 1:14.356. That was a half second slower here on lap number 10. Across the line, as the timer gets closer to zero, they'll just get in under the gun to go 2 laps to go next time by. Powers now with an opportunity again on Walters. What does he do? He ducks out last second. New leader for the first time here in the main event. Luke Powers to the front. Walters on a crossover back from him. Isaac Melkett not able to follow. In fact, Walters completes the crossover. That might be one of the first ones we've seen successful coming out of turn number 2, Simon.
That was the first and cleanest crossover I've seen out of turn 2 so far. Most of the time, the driver to the inside can get the run out of the next corner and have the inside line into the shark fin corner. However, Luke Powers not able to quite complete that. He'll get wide and out into the grass, and Isaac Malkowitz's going to try and take advantage of that. Looks like Mason Walters ran Luke Powers just a little bit wide into the grass, and it'll reset him just a few kart lengths back now.
They all know the time is left. They haven't got that 2 to go signal, but they saw the timer get near zero when they crossed the line. They know it is go time, and Mason Walters not letting anyone really stay out in front of him there. A great crossover, and then making sure he used up every bit of the racetrack and every tool available to him. Dust being kicked up. Those drivers can see that if they're paying close enough attention to the other side of the racetrack, because if a driver at the back brings all his dust back onto the circuit, the first guys to get there will be this group right here, and they could easily blow the braking zone. So turn 1 and 2, that should be fine. I'm not sure where that dust was coming from, but it might have been from up ahead here with this driver that went off, or even further down into that turn 6 hairpin. So let's see if there's any bobbles or mistakes when they get into the braking zone of this one or the next one. Going into the corner, looks good there for Walters. He'll be fine. And over to turn number 8, the gap is up to 3 car lengths. You saw Malkett kind of lean forward there. He's trying to hop in the seat, spike the RPMs, and just get a little bit of an extra boost towards the leader, because he's too far back to challenge. He's got to get closer for a shot at Mason Walters.
Mason Walters putting on a great display of his pure pace. Isaac Malkowic barely hanging on in that tow, and Luke Powers a few kart lengths back, not quite in that draft range. Mason Walters pressing on. That solo pace so important here with just a lap and a couple turns remaining.
And to note, again, for the moment, they were good, where a 2-second penalty would still guarantee a Luke Powers podium if that tramline violation is going to stand, and I would imagine it would with the video system they have here. White flag in the air. Walters had to look around to make sure they gave it to him, but he does see it. 1 to go for Mason Walters. A 3 car length gap, but for Luke Powers with that move and then kind of going wide, now a 2-second penalty would put him down in the 5th spot, and it would promote Austin Olds to 3rd and John Antonino into 4th, and that, of course, shakes up the championship. But Mason Walters here, a flawless drive, and it'd be his first race win away from home. We've seen him have such an amazing run at Trackhouse Motorplex, where he's got so many laps and so much training from the likes of Paulie Massimino and Brandon Jarsakrak. National race winners, off goes Caleb Tartar. Tartar in the shark fin was running 7th. He's out of the MPG Motorsports Kart Republic.
Drama to close this last lap here. Caleb Tartar running in that P7 position. Unfortunate break for him. Mason Walters looks to have this one all but locked up. That pace too strong for Isaac Malkout to keep up with, and Luke Powers gonna be stuck there in 3rd provisionally, and Austin Olds will probably round out your podium, although he has no idea as of yet.
Across the line, Mason Walters, King of the Castle in KA Junior, and it is an extension of that championship lead, his first career win at Newcastle Motorsports Park, and he is fired up as he'll spin it around going into turn number 2, locking the brakes on a little bit of a excessive victory celebration, just lost the back end, trying to drift it and have some fun, but either way, Mason Walters, no flaws in the race, and that's the important part here, Simon, even if it was maybe a flawed celebration right there.
He saved the one mistake of the race for the end. He drove flawlessly throughout.
Whoa.
We'll see one driver off, way off near turn 2 here.
That might be Jackson Wolney here. He finished 6th, was all by himself. I think, no, that's the 865 actually. That's a little bit further down. There might have been one driver that went off on the final lap. Let's see. That was Ben Gaunt. He finished 18th, but was in a big pack, so maybe just locked up as they all kind of slowed down at awkward speeds into the cool-down lap. So 2 spins. He's not the only one over in the I-70 corner. Ben Gaunt as well, going around on the Cosmic, that purple, pink, and white machine. But Mason Walters, your winner in this one, folks. Pulled away from Isaac Malkout at the end and drove a phenomenal main event. Luke Powers 3rd. Austin Olds from the back. Indeed, he did start back there in 30th. He picks up 26 spots. Had there been just a tick more battling for the lead, he might have gone all the way up to the win. With the potential penalty we know coming in for Luke Powers on a tramline violation, it should put him up to 3rd. Ayrton Grimm there 11th. You see a few more movers and shakers. How about Benham Abernathy, Davin Roberts up 6 and 7 spots apiece. Cole Wilson up 6. Indy Anderson up 6 as well, from well outside the top 20 to move themselves forward. And then even further back, some more big runs from the back of the field. How about pre-final B winner, basically that last chance qualifier, Jackson Baldus. He picks up 9, gets himself to 22nd. Landon Cardwell up 9. Charlie Myers up 11. Will Franklin, Isabella Simpson also coming out of that LCQ. They pick up a handful. Unfortunately for Wesley Gundler there, the bad luck continued, and then there was a lot of carnage on the opening few laps. Took out a handful. Homer Heyman, Lucas Crucella, Rick Davis, and more all collected here. But from a breezy, nice and beautiful, really, Sunday afternoon in Newcastle, Indiana, right outside Interstate 70, we've got more main events to go. We are 4 still to come. Swift Stars coming your way next, and then it's the rest of the triple headline divisions. KA Stars to kick it off in the semi-pro class, then your pro OKN Stars and Pro Stars follow up to end off the day. The first of our second half of the 8-class order here at the Stars Championship Series is onto the circuit. We've got 4 complete. Still 4 races are coming your way this afternoon, along with post-race interviews, of course, at those headline divisions later on. Through the Red 171 hairpin, we'll begin to warm them up for the Mini Swift division. Lucas Palacio was able to get away after the battling kind of broke back out in the final few laps of that pre-final to lock himself into the pole here for the main event, but he's got teammates starting all around him. Gabriel Balog, though, is the first one that's not on the Factory Magic Kart. Joins him to complete row number 1. Travis Pettit lines up right behind his Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic teammate in 3rd. Tyrone Kemper Jr. in 4th on the Energy. Row 3, Kai Mars and Jackson Tovo. Row 4, we Landon Boer's MPG Motorsports machine on the inside, and then to the outside, Fionn Shi there, and that green and white Super Tune USA Tony Kart. You've got row number 5, Jaime Garcia on the 130. Fell back quite a bit at the start of the pre-final. Fought his way back up into 9th. He starts alongside William Roberts. Adam Wooldridge and Holden Harder on row 6. Grady Kronick, Tucker Tribe on row 7. Jacob Scheibele, Cameron Marcia on row 8. Jude Thurman-Maloswarmy and Ben Gleberman on row 9. Alex Kutcher, Anna McCrone, and Nicholas Lessiter, your 21 driver, Swift Stars Field. Simon Sykes headed down to the pit lane to get a little more intel. It's brought into the booth for the first time Caleb Vieska here for a full race commentary gig before we send him back down for more intel during OKN Stars and Pro Stars main events. But for the Mini Swift Stars, it's a little bit of shoving. Let's see if we can get this first try at the start clean. It'll be the only try. We're going to try and minimize the penalties. We heard about the 1 penalty for Luke Powers, unfortunately, there. Hopefully they all were paying attention. Stay in the lines till the lights go out. They're out now. We're under power, and we're green down to turn 1, through over to turn number 2. Come on, boys and girls, try and give some space, see if they can survive. They're 3 wide. Off the racetrack goes the second place starter, Gabriel Balog. Balog off the racetrack out of turn number 2, and it's a TKG 1-2-3. Lucas Palacio leads, Travis Pettit second, Kai Mars is 3rd.
Yeah, not good for those guys in the TKG. You know, one of their teammates going out super early, so very unfortunate to see that super early on, the P2 going out this early in the race. But Lucas Palacio is still in the lead of this race. He's been quick all day. He was quick all day yesterday. He's been in a league of his own all day, so it's very interesting to see how his teammates are going to work around him, Xander.
Yeah, we'll see. Travis Pettit's been pushing him quite a bit this weekend. Kai Mars has been pretty close as well. We saw in the pre-final Tyrone Kemper Jr. and Jackson Tovo make up a lot of time, especially Jackson Tovo hunt down the leaders from a ways back. I think not a great start for the 133. That outside lane is tricky. You can see already Landon Boer from 7th in the MPG Motorsports red and white machine has gone to 4th. Right behind him, there is Jaime Garcia in the 130, rolled off in the 9th spot. So the entire inside lane going through really hurt the outside groove. Tyrone Kemper Jr. back there behind the 177 of Holden Harder, all the way back for Jackson Tovo even further. He's 9th at the end of the opening lap, and you're seeing just a team train up front. The one spoiler maker really was Gabriel Balog on that Factory Magic Kart, and unfortunately with him being the one to go off the racetrack, it's just the teammates left up front. And I would be very, very surprised if we saw any kind of shuffling. I can guarantee every parent, every tuner, Sean Bailiff, praying, hoping on the fence line their drivers just work together and build a gap, because for these guys, it's super speedway racing here at Newcastle Motorsports Park, Caleb.
Yeah, of course. You're going to want to see the guys from Trinity. They're going to want to see all their 3 drivers working together, you know, not a lot of fighting in between them. I give it to the last 2 laps for them to start really shuffling around. But yeah, they're definitely going to want to pull away from this back group, as the top 3 have been super quick all weekend, and they're going to keep pulling away here from the guys in the back.
Landon Boer leading that next train here. Jaime Garcia seems content to push him for now on that Paralyn, the 133 Super Tune driver, trying to help make some headway towards the lead. I don't think it's been a bad lap. I just don't know if it's been good enough to contend with Lucas Palacio. It's a long race. There's a lot of time to go forward, but we really haven't seen a whole lot out of the rest of this pack to be fast enough to run down those green and white machines. They come out of the final turn and down the front stretch. Here's an update on lap times. A 1:18.22 for Palacio and Pettit. A 1:18.7 for Landon Boer. It was on pace with Kai Mars, but for the 3 of them to be working together as hard as they are and to still be missing half a second, That's not good news for the rest of the field. It could very easily be a long, high-speed chess match type of main event here with Palacio and Pettit just continuously going away. That's why we've got our cameras fixated on this battle in the midfield. Nice pass on the inside that I believe was William Roberts on the inside of Tyrone Kemper Jr. He'll pick up another spot on the BJR Lando Norris cart, and you go further back from him to Jackson Tovo, to Fion Shi, and Cameron Marsha, I believe, has picked up a couple. He's on the outside edge of the top 10 as they head to the cell tower hairpin.
Yeah, of course, and the key thing for these guys further on back, they're going to have to work together to really close down the gap to P3 as we see Kai Mars falling back on Lucas Palacio and Travis Petit. So those two guys up front seem like they're really pulling away from Kai Mars, and the more the guys from P4 on down, the more they work together, the more they're going to work up.
Yeah, as long as they stay hooked up, like you said, Caleb, that's a good point. They do have a really good shot at catching Kai Mars. Mars was fast enough on his own to match them last time by, but now I think they might be making a little bit of headway. This 5-car group there with Roberts at the front of it and Marsha at the end, that is 7th to 11. This is 4th, 5th, and 6th. You zoom out a little bit and you see Mars there at the end of the shot. Here comes a pass Fion Shi down the inside of William Roberts. They freight trained him. He'll go back 3 spots now. Kemper Jr. and Jackson Tovo, 2 drivers that work together really nicely in the pre-final. Tovo's going to go by Kemper Jr. there, though, in the shark fin. He'll pick up a couple spots so far and continue to roll forward on that Ryan Perry Motorsport red and white nitro card. Into the inside as well, Fion Shi, he gets through. Side by side for Cameron Marsha. Couldn't complete the pass on William Roberts into the green corner, and all this battling is allowing that next pack, Tucker Tribe, Holden Harder, Grady Kronick, the opportunity to try and close on up as well.
Yeah, all these guys are really starting to work together. You see Kemper Jr., and it seems to be Jackson Tovo and William Roberts. All these guys really have to work together to close the gap down further on ahead as we see a pass on Kemper Jr. I believe that was Jackson Tovo making the move on Kemper Jr. So these guys really have to start working together, a little bit less passing so they can really work their way up, Xander.
Yeah, that was the 189 of William Roberts fending off, I believe, on that BJR Lando Norris cart. Kemper Jr.'s on that white and blue energy. Here's a look, though. You mentioned it earlier. Kai Mars in third was going to be susceptible to the pack running him down, and they're about to swallow him. Look at this big run from Jaime Garcia and Landon Boer. They'll get all the way to the bumper, and Boer's got no choice but to go by. Into third for Landon Boer and onto the podium on the MPG Motorsports Kart Republic. Jaime Garcia to fourth. Kai Mars fifth. Adam Wooldridge. Wow, from way back for Adam Wooldridge. What a start it's been for the 177. My mistake, they're not to Holden Harder, but Adam Wooldridge in the 177, all blacked out energy, is now up into 6. A great run is off the racetrack. Oh, we just talked about him. The 189 of William Roberts goes off the berm and into the grassy knoll over there behind the red and green barriers at turn number 2, and that completely takes him out of the running, obviously, and shakes up a little bit of that midfield fight. Let's go down to pit lane for Alexander Searle and Simon Sykes checking out the action for the upcoming KA Stars main event.
Thanks, Xander. Here with your winner in the final for KA Junior, Mason Walters. Mason, first feature victory outside of Trackhouse Motorplex. Describe to me your emotions right now and how that race went for you.
It went pretty good. We started fourth due to some bad luck in the pre-final, but we just got up front quick, stayed out there. Feels pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, one more thing. Just who would you like to thank for this victory?
I'd like to thank BJR/MDR Racing and my parents, MDS Race Motors.
Thanks, Mason. Good job.
Thank you.
There you go from Mason Walters, the Brandon Jarskak Racing, Mike Doty Racing LN Kart driver, taking the win in KA Junior in a dominant fashion. It's looking to be the same for the Trinity Karting Group duo of Travis Pettit and Lucas Palacio early on. Here is Jackson Tovo on the inside on the white and red RPM Nitro kart. He gets by that green and white Tony kart of Fion Shi. That right there is the battle for the 7th spot. He was retaking it back, and they've shuffled it a couple of times. It's cost them a little bit of ground to the group in front, with 3rd and 4th on your screen, Landon Boer and Jaime Garcia, 5th and 6th, Kai Mars and Adam Wooldridge, and then Tovo, then Shi, then Cameron Marsha, who's picked up a couple into 9th, and Holden Harder on the outside edge of the top 10 in that blacked out number 157.
Yeah, of course. And like we were saying, Landon Boer and Jamie Garcia, we were really saying that they had to work together to catch up to Kai Mars, and it seemed like they have already passed him for that P3 spot. So now Landon Boer and Jamie Garcia seems like they're still kind of pulling away from Kai Mars. Wonder if he has some kind of issue out here because he's really been falling off the pace.
Right. I mean, he started so good. His teammates are running solidly there. He's falling off a little bit. That was a good lap to kind of rebound. Still gave up a tenth of a second to the two in front. But for the driver that's contended for heat race wins here this weekend, not the ideal main event. Unfortunately for Kai Mars, who would have liked to be a little bit faster. In this case, he's going to have to really get the elbows out. And that's, of course, the other reason for Jaime Garcia and Landon Boer to continue to work together is while, yes, they are still slower by a good margin to Travis Pettit and Lucas Palacio, who are long gone. They are a little bit faster when working together than the pack behind. And when they battle behind, it even makes it easier to get away, as Jackson Tovo right there. Nice move on Adam Wooldridge. He takes over the sixth position, and now the charge forward continues for Tovo after a terrible start for that outside groove.
Yeah, of course, like we saw on the start, the inside got a much better start, and all the guys on the outside really didn't have the luck that they needed to really work their way further up. So, yeah. But very good to see these guys are still working together, and I think a little bit less fighting will get these guys further up.
It'll at least also help drop drivers off here with him going by Adam Wooldridge and the lap times continuing to get set as new personal best. You'll slowly start to see cars fall off the end of the train. They end up losing touch as the pack just gets too fast for them. That was a big gain for Kai Mars that time. He did a 117.5, half a second better than Boer and Garcia. That was much needed out of the 123. New best laps as well for the race and the personal times of Lucas Palacio and Travis Pettit. They are 5 seconds gone from the field with only 6 laps complete. It's hard to kind of show how impressive that is in a 9 horsepower class like the Mini Swift division. But Caleb, you obviously have a lot of experience over the last couple of years running this style of racing, as we see Kai Mars with a nice pass on Garcia. Tovo trying to do the same. And around the outside, he gets clear. But point being, it is so tough in the low horsepower karts at any racetrack to get away, especially when you make it a 1.2 mile super stretch.
Of course, I mean, we talk a lot about with the lower speed karts. Momentum is a really key factor when it comes to these low speed karts. And definitely, my experience in the 206 classes, working together is really important. And it looks like Lucas Palacio and Travis Petit have really been working together, pushing each other along. And yeah, it's super hard to get away from the lead pack. But if you have someone there to push you and someone that you respect, it's really easy to pull away like this.
And again, these two teammates, obviously, they've been working together a lot of this weekend, but a lot of this year as well, and it's paid off dividends. Down the front stretch, here comes Jackson Tovo. He's not done yet. He wants to get around Jaime Garcia. He wants to follow Kai Mars back to the lead of this group, this pack again. Third on back. It's the final spot on the podium. Landon Boer holds it. Everybody else wants it, and we're getting closer and closer to crunch time. 4 minutes plus 2 laps to go in this Mini Swift main event from King of the Castle at Castle Motorsports Park. If you're just joining us right now, folks, you've got 3 major races coming up after this one. KA Stars, Pro Stars, and OKN Pro Stars as well will be headed your way momentarily, all back-to-back. In fact, after this next round, it'll be commercial-free from KA Stars on to the final checkered flag of that OKN Stars main event. All still to come, all still to play for on the Stars National Circuit here from Newcastle, Indiana. 4 minutes plus 2 laps to go, and you're watching third on back to about 7th with Adam Wooldridge there in that blacked out card at the end. Here's a pass coming. This is for 5th. Jackson Tovo takes over the spot from that super tuned parallel of Jaime Garcia.
Yeah, it's a very good move by Jackson Tovo. He really has to get past all the traffic and work his way back up. He has to close down the gap to Kai Mars if he wants to really fight for this P3 spot.
Yeah, he needs to get closer. Mars looks back, though. He sees the pack still there. He's worried, I think, a little bit about Tovo getting through because he's raced against Jackson quite a bit this week, and he knows how fast that RPM Nitro kart can be. So what does Kai Mars do? Into the shark fin. Oh, door left open. Here comes Tovo. He'll get through. P4 for Jackson Tovo. And one more kart right in the tire tracks up the road is Landon Boer's MPG Motorsports Kart Republic.
Yeah, that RPM seems super fast. If Jackson Tovo tries to size up a move here, wheel to wheel down the inside. Can he get it done? Clear. He gets it done, and he's up in a P3. And Kai Mars still trying to size up a move, and all I believe was Landon Boer. But they don't get it done, and they keep pushing. it's really interesting to see these guys fighting with 2 minutes left, fighting for this P3 spot. I'd really expect them to see working together, but they're going to go and just fight for the rest of this race.
Well, the other thing, of course, here, when the pack gets big enough, the only safe place to be is the front spot. It can split off at any time from one botched pass or one mistake. And so now Jackson Tovo is the safest driver in this grouping. And you can see already he's pulled a little bit on Landon Boer. We've got company joining the end of the pack, though. Welcome to the party, Cameron Marcia and Fionn Shi once again. 8th and 9th on the circuit. They've closed up to the back. Who's going to duck out of line? With 2 minutes to go, you think they would all duck out of line, but no, nobody going to, although everyone's stacking up tight there in the braking zone, and it kind of bottled everybody up, and now Marcia nearly going around Adam Wooldridge. He pulls back in line. Fionn Shi does the same while the leaders continue to push away.
Yeah, the leaders are Lucas Palacio and Travis Petit, 8 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack. These guys are having a monstrous race, really in a league of their own. Less than a tenth in between them, so it's going to be interesting to see how they work together. We see a move here by, I believe it was Kai Mars, trying to get it done on the 120. Cannot get it done, and he's going to stay behind him. These guys are super fast. Kai Mars did start this race in P3. He was behind his teammates, but could not get it done. He gets a move down the inside, and he's clear. Gets it done, and that RPM right behind him, going to try to push through, but that MPG still behind Kai Mars, and these guys are still fighting.
Yeah, not able to get through. So Kai Mars now back up to 4th. It's allowed Jackson Tovo's Ryan Perry Motorsport machine to get a little bit further away. This time by, I believe we'll be at 3 laps to go because we will hit the time limit next time around. Mars, Boer, Garcia, all trying to track down Jackson Tovo, who hits his personal best time of the race on the third to last lap here. Tovo, a 17.5. He's already almost a full second out the road. Look at Fionn Shi. Nice pass there on Cameron Marcia. He goes by the 114 at the end of the grouping, and Marcia checks the gap back. It's a little gap to find, oh my goodness, Gabriel Balog leading that next pack. Remember, Gabriel Balog got knocked off into the turf on the outside of turn number 2 on the start. The number 187 Factory Magic Kart went all the way to the rear, was stuck in the grass, got back going. He has driven his tail off, and he is now up to 10th and trying to get more. An amazing recovery drive and a lot of heart coming from Gabriel Balog.
Yeah, Gabriel Balog, what a drive by him. And the more these guys fight up ahead, the more he's going to catch them. So it's going to be interesting to see how this fight plays out and to see if Gabriel Balog can make up more spots.
Let's see if he can get there. He's a couple seconds away right now, specifically about 3. But we've got 3 laps to go. That's plenty of time for a lot of fighting in this pack. At the moment, they're single file. Jackson Tovo has pulled away. He seems safe in 3rd. Mars is 4th, so the 133, I think, while they've tried to work together to get to him so far, no damage done. 2 laps to go. The lap time's at the line. Tovo pulled a 10th away from this pack by himself, and they're not going to work together anymore. Landon Boer setting him up high, then low, and down the inside with Garcia and Shi trying to go. Mars hangs tough on the outside. He'll hold on, only lose 2 spots in the exchange. So Landon Boer back up to P4 while the leaders continue to stay away here. This midfield fight now was for the podium. It's for the first spot off the podium at the moment. Big dive bomb from Marcia at the end of the pack. He'll get back around Adam Wooldridge, and Fionn Shi now gets a 2-car length cushion. But let's check in here with the lead of the group is, wow, Boer. Big send, went off the brake pedal as soon as he saw Jaime Garcia stow a nose to the inside and just ripped the outside lane in that corner. Caleb was able to hold on. Now he's going to block to the center to kind of defend.
Yeah, of course, and with 2 laps to go, it's really crunch time for these guys looking for that P4 spot, and it all falls down to points here. They're all fighting for the Stars Championship, so, a 4th place finish would really be good for their championship. But Lucas Palacio and Travis Petit still far up the road. 9 seconds now. The more these guys fight, the more they fall behind as Jackson Tovo's a second ahead of Kai Mars and the guys behind.
So here goes Tovo through the line. Here comes that 4th place group. Let's go side by side as the leaders have taken the white flag. They are already coming out of turn number 2. Lucas Palacio versus Travis Pettit for the lead and the win. This is the battle for them at the bottom of the screen right there. Palacio versus Pettit. Let's see how long they wait. Palacio going to defend low. Pettit, he can open up. He's got 9 seconds, nearly 10 seconds back to Jackson Tovo. He can go as wide as he wants to and not worry about 3rd place trying to get on the inside of him. So he'll try and cross him over out of the green corner. Can't quite do it there. They'll run towards the back section to the cell tower hairpin as this middle group continues to fight. Balog has gotten into it. He's already about 2 spots up. Great stuff for Gabriel Balog there on the Magic Kart. He'll pick him up and put him down as the field heads out side by side for the lead. And Pettit side by side and a crossover from Palacio. What a move. Palacio gets back to the point. And now Pettit tries to set him up again. He's got a nose down low. Palacio covers it off. And now to the final 3 turns. Here we go, coming to the line. It is a two-way fight. Palacio on the inside. Pettit can't find a way around. He did for all about 100 feet to the final turn. Palacio low. Pettit crossover at the line. Wow, was that close? 27 thousandths of a second. Palacio is king of the castle in Mini Swift Stars. Pettit second. Here's a third to Tovo, and fourth, Boer survives. Kai Mars fifth. Fionn Shee sixth. Gabriel Balog to 7th at the end. Jaime Garcia, Adam Wooldridge, Cameron Marshall, your top 10. Let's take a moment to breathe and send it down to pit lane for some more from Alexander Searle.
Thanks, Xander. Here with part owner of MPG Motorsports Race Liberante Race. Just saw a pretty good race there in Mini Swift. You had Austin Knowles there get a podium for K. Talk about the progression of the team throughout the week to get to this point.
Yeah, actually everybody had really good pace all weekend long. We got a little tight yesterday, so fell back a little, and then the pre-finals today, it just seemed like there was a cloud sitting right over our tent, but all the kids worked really hard. We worked really hard on making sure that they were in the right mindset going into the main event and that they could do it, and looks like we gave Olds a package to possibly win if he was up there to contend for it. So, but all the drivers are doing great. We just finished 4th in Mini just now, and Mason Surgener is about to show us what he's capable of in K Senior. So hats off to the team, all the mechanics. Braden and Chase have been working really hard too. So it's a team effort, and I think we're just starting. So it's momentum's building for us for sure.
All right, thanks, Race.
Thanks, guys.
Funny to see the end there. There is the other part at the top of the MPG Race Factory operation. Chase Jones, photo bomb and Race Liberante's interview. But good to see their impressive stuff from their guy Landon Boer. Like he said, the podium for Austin Olds, wicked fast from 30th, up 26 spots to end up P3. But what a race for Lucas Palacio and Travis Pettit. Saved it to the final lap. That was textbook there, Caleb, when it comes to draft and pack racing. Get with one buddy, push away, and they put a ton of seconds on the field.
Yeah, of course, Lucas Palacio and Travis Pettit, they really worked together the whole race and pushed to the front. And in the last lap, they left it all out there on the track and really fought for the win.
You look further back down the order, of course, heartbreak for Tyrone Kemper Jr. Not the main event he wanted. He ends up 12 spots back outside the top 10. Outside of that, though, not a lot of big moves up or down the grid when you go way back in the 21-driver Mini Swift field. Obviously, Gabriel Balog, story of the race as well, really overshadowed by that one, just due to the fact, of course, that he had that major carnage. We were going to take a quick commercial break, but we're rolling. How about that for KA Stars? Headed onto the racetrack here. Let's get set to take you through the starting lineup for that KA Stars main event. Just like KA Junior, we entered more to the event than could start the main. They were split through their heats, and through 2 different pre-finals, we set the first 30 spots and the final 10, and that pre-final B definitely wild to decide who was going to make it in to the big show. Simon Sykes joins me back in the booth now here as we get set to take you through the starting lineup for your KA Stars field, a full field of 40, going from the back all the way up. The final 2 spots in the big dance. Addison Ionello in the 946 rolls off at the end alongside Gavin Isaacs. Jake James and Tanner Bunny on row 19. Michael Mastandre and Carson Sauter on row 18. Then you move up into the the lower half of the 30s. You got Michael Colbert and Oliver Piatek, Lovisa Landon, Harbier Dawes, Tristan Holtman, Brian Reddick, Drew James, Presley Whitney. Mick Gabriel rolls off back in 26th on row 13 after leading a lot of laps in that pre-final alongside Hunter Perry. Then you got Gio Cardone and Seamus McKendry. Row 11, Hal Peng Zhang and Big Ben Lida. Their top 20, you've got Seth Stowe in the Timmy Tech Eli Fox on the outside, Ralph Shaw on the inside. 18th for Seth Stowe on that comp cart. And the Eyes Up Body Symmetry MD, Tony Carter-Samavritsky in row 9. Row 8, Grant Vogel starting 16th, and Garrett Davis. Row 7, Anthony Rivera and Mason Surgener. Row number 6, you got Eli Warren and Dominic Tesoro, and then your top 10. Dalton Haynes on the Kart Republic rolls off on the outside of row number 5 to his inside. The Adkins Raceway Tony Kart of Brandon Adkins in 9th. Row 4's got Emery Lida on the Host Driver Development Tony Kart to the outside. Lucas Zabo on the inside on the Ryan Perry Motorsport red and white machine. Row number 3, you got Spencer Conrad's Team GWR Tony Kart to the outside. Tristan Farber in the Western Snowplows Cosmic on the inside. James Overbeck on the outside on the BJR Tony Kart. Finnegan Bailiff's TKG Kart Republic on the inside. And your front row, Emerson Reed, E-Train on the outside on the Hotes DD98. And on the inside, on the pole, the front row, starting us now, Josh Campbell's Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart takes the 40 car field down at turn number 2. And let's see him. Oh, we got a couple turned around at the back on the outside lane. Nick Gabriel all the way down by the creek. And he drives around the barriers, foot on the gas, and Gabriel back on the racetrack here along with a Vrutski in the 924 that goes around.
A tough break from Mick Gabriel. Troubles in that pre-final. Multiple incidents relegated him to the back of the field, and a tough start to this final for the driver that's been so quick all weekend. As we move back towards the front, we see Finnegan Bailiff losing one spot out. He'll slot into the 4th position. Still Josh Campbell, Emerson Reed taking off out front as we work through the cell tower corner, and everyone nose to tail. No more incidents except for that initial turn 2 scuffle.
Through the horseshoe section of the racetrack and out of turn 14, little 2-car breakaway as you mentioned. Josh Campbell, Emerson Reed. Reed points to the sky, says let's go forward. James Overbeck, Finnegan Bailiff trying to reel them back on in, but a great start for Emerson Reed from the outside to be able to kind of drop down into second and start to move forward. Zabo 5th. Farber in 6th. Here's all the way back to the end of that train with Garrett Davis and Eli Warren. It's a long line there back to about 15th on the racetrack as they head down to turn 2. Tristan Farber under fire from Spencer Conrad. He blocks low. Conrad still there, and off the racetrack goes Farber as he drops a tire. He'll lose 1, 2, 3 spots through the the shark fin, trying to stay on Dalton Haynes, and they make contact, and he's up and on top of the side pod of Dalton Haynes. Tristan Farber and Dalton Haynes get collected, and they are stuck together. And now, oh man, nearly just got piled into by more drivers further back in the field. And Tristan Farber, Dalton Haynes out of this one as Josh Campbell leads the field down into the cell tower hairpin. And look at James Overbeck. He'll take over second from Emerson Reed.
No shortage of action to start this KA Stars final. Dalton Haynes getting caught up in that one. He and Mick Gabriel, the driver that got together in the pre-final, both ending up on the wrong end of some incidents starting this main event. Out front still is Josh Campbell, but look at that. James Overbeck into P2. He'll try and take it away. Won't quite get it done. Emerson Reed back to it, but look at Finnegan Bailiff coming through. He'll secure that P2 spot. Emerson Reed tucked in right behind him. They'll head down towards turn 2. It is Lucas Zabo right behind them, but inside James Overbeck back to the 3rd position. He'll make 2 moves there. He'll clean up Emerson Reed, and the battle for second continues to rage on. Emerson Reed back through on Overbeck. These two trading.
Oh, tight right there. Overbeck barely hung on to the edge of the racetrack, and Conrad gets to 3rd. Zabo to 4th. Lida side by side with Overbeck. He'll give him some space, and Overbeck going to get almost clear. No, Lida gets back in, and so does Dominic Tesoro as Overbeck loses another spot. Here comes Eli Warren on that Jimmy Simpson Racing Red Speed and the rest of the pack. How about Anthony Rivera on the Pro Kart Concepts Energy? Side by side there, Haopeng Zhang, I think, trying to get down the inside, and more contact as Surgeoner gets popped on the back bumper of Adkins. He hangs on, loses a couple, and the long line of go-karts goes way back from the rest of the field. We're still early, lots of shuffling. It's given the leaders a little bit more space as we check out where James Overbeck falls back to. I think that'll put him right around 7th or 8th, maybe further. Eli Warren on his tail had to start dead last, 30th in the pre-final, drove it up to 12th, fell back a little on the start. He has now clawed his way to 9th as we see up front. Ooh, tight stuff from Spencer Conrad, and Emerson Reed taking the young kid to school, the veteran. Nice crossover.
Emerson Reed, so experienced, so talented. He'll make a quick work on that crossover, see if he can't run down your leader. Look at that. Emery Lida slotting his way through as the battle inside the top 10 continues to rage on. James Overbeck looking for an outside move. Won't get it done there, but the top 10 still fighting like it's the last lap. Overbeck back down to the inside. He'll clean one more spot up as we continue on. Still 10.5 minutes plus 2 laps remaining, yet it feels like the last lap of the race.
Down the inside for Lucas Zabo on Spencer Conrad. He'll pick up the spot there. What about the start, though, for Josh Campbell? Our cameras, this is not the lead pack, folks, but it is the first pack on the racetrack. Josh Campbell is out in front by more than a second and a half already, and he's one of the fastest cars, so it'll be a lot of work to run him down. The 926, a big-time lead, then back to Bailiff, Reed, Zabo, and Conrad second through fifth. Let's see if they've done any damage this time. They did not. In fact, they gave him another half second. Let's see down to turn number 1. Bailiff looking for help, not going to get it. Reed goes through for second, and Zabo goes through for third.
These drivers are going to have to work together these second through fifth positions if they want any chance of catching Josh Campbell. They're well outside draft range, so it's going to take a lot of work. Emerson Reed leading the charge. That's a 942 machine.
Mason Surgener off the racetrack there at turn number 2. The MPG Motorsports driver out on the side, and he's able to get back going. He was 14th across the line. Unfortunate for Surgener here. Let's go and see now. Emerson Reed, this looks good here with Zabo lined up behind him. Does Zabo go by? I think he's content to push for now. And they've started already begin to drop Finnegan Bailiff off the pack just a little bit. Emery Lida closing in. He's got Dominic DeSoro coming along for the ride with him, and Eli Warren there in the 8th spot. James Overbeck back in 9th. He's fighting through a mad dash of karts behind him there. That next group there with Overbeck, and now he's actually lost the 9th spot to Rivera, so more passing still going on. This pack took a long time to sort itself out, nearly half this race, and they've got a long road ahead to try and hunt down Josh Campbell. That time, no improvement. I think Campbell may be untouchable. That was a 4/10 gain again for Josh Campbell. It is now 3 seconds as Zabo goes to second.
The fight for second is not back down. Zabo taking the point this time by Emerson Reed. Lost 2. He'll gain 1 back through the shark fin as Finnegan Bailiff working the outside there. This 2nd through 7th group is fighting like crazy. Finnegan Bailiff looking to the outside, trying to get a spot there. He'll lose 1 out to Emery Lida, maybe another, as he gets passed into the left-hander. He'll lose 3-4 spots out of that. He'll drop to the end of that front pack.
This would be a big confidence boost for Josh Campbell as he has to quickly go suit back up for the OKN Pro Stars main event. If he can walk away, the RPM Tony karts are flat flying right now. It's a 1-2 for Ryan Perry Motorsport with Josh Campbell and then Lucas Zabo, although Zabo with a big slide there, full oppo lock coming through turn 14. That right there is the difference of a little bit of years of experience that Campbell's got. Zabo, I believe only his 2nd full-time year in the senior ranks, one of the younger drivers up inside that top 10, along with Spencer Conrad, and of course rookie standout Eli Warren on that JSR Red Speed. Warren right there working with Lida, trying to push him. Look at this. Conrad knows it's coming. He can't do anything about it. Oh, no, he can. Sends it in deep. Tries to hang on. Lida gets through. He'll lose only 1 spot. Warren cannot follow there, and now he'll have to try him in the shark fin. Not close enough for Eli Warren. Dominic DeSoro still looking on the CRG. Let's see, turn 6. Is he close enough here? He's going to try it inside. Clear. Eli Warren will pick up another one.
And this fight, 2nd through 7th, 8th place, still raging on as Lida continues to work his way forward, and just behind him, the battle continuing to develop. That'll be Eli Warren, Dominic DeSoro, and Finnegan Bailiff not even in frame anymore. He's lost out massively on the start, starting near the front of this field, running at the front, now back towards the edge of the top 10 as we work 6.5 minutes plus 2 laps remaining.
Here we go through turn number 15 for Eli Warren and Dominic DeSoro, then up the road to find Lucas Zabo. Emerson Reed has tracked him back down, but Josh Campbell, 3.5 seconds and growing. He is by far the quickest driver up front. Mick Gabriel, fastest lap time, a 1:13.89. He was last time by in 24th. We'll give you an update of where he is now as Warren picks up another, gets by Spencer Conrad. And Gabriel has worked his way, still 24th, about to get to 23rd on Hunter Perry. So Mick Gabriel, your update on the top qualifier, or one of the top qualifiers this weekend, fastest in final practice, and incidents here. A Sunday to forget for the AEM Karting EOS Kart driver. That was a nice pass there by Spencer Conrad on Eli Warren. Warren wants it back, and the two rookies are banging tires out of turn number 8. It's going to bring James Overbeck and company back closer to them, with Conrad now back in the front of the train.
And still fighting like the last lap. Look at Overbeck making a move to the inside of Dominic Tesoro. He'll clean up that spot, move him up to P7.
Nicely done for James Overbeck there, and the BJR Tony Kart continues to roll back forward. Was leading a good chunk of the laps here over the course of the weekend, but a not so great start, and just kind of backwards he seemed to fall. He's finally gotten enough room out back to march back forward. It's just going to be too little too late at best. It looks like he's going to get up to the top 5 with Spencer Conrad, because Emery Light and Emerson Reed, they are still 3rd and 4th, 2 seconds up the road, and trying to track down Lucas Zabo, who has pulled a couple car lengths on them as well. Here's the next group back from back from Miles Hewitt, actually.
That was Garrett Davis trying to make a move on Finnegan Bailiff there into turn 2. Won't quite get that one done as he dives down the inside. We look back to James Overbeck coming through the hairpin, and the drivers that followed, Dominic Tesoro, Finnegan Bailiff right behind
that's
Garrett Davis.
He
Garrett
did
Davis
get by him.
made through past Finnegan Bailiff in that turn 2 complex. So move Garrett Davis in that FA Kart Republic up towards the front of this pack.
Yeah, this group right here has got, again, Finnegan Bailiff. You got Drew James there in the 928, Brandon Adkins. Then you got a couple of, you got the BJR Lando Norris Kart 903, that's Rife Shaw. And then Anthony Rivera on the Energy. Rivera got into the top 10, then fell back. How about Oliver Piatek having to come out of the LCQ, out of that B pre-final? And he's up a number of spots. He's up now to 15th and digging for more. Here's an update on lap times. Bunch of personal bests that time. Everybody's pushing at full speed. How about Emerson Reed getting all the way up to the bumper there of Lucas Zabo? That's for 2nd and 3rd. So Zabo looked like he might have been able to pull away. Emerson Reed took a minute to kind of really find his footing. He's now closed the gap back up. He's on the bumper, and he's pulled away even from Emery Lida, his Hoach driver development teammate. A 10th of a second better that time by.
They're going to put a lot of effort in towards trying to run down the gap that has exploded in front of them in the form of 3.7 seconds. The lead, Josh Campbell in that number 926 machine. RPM, Ryan Perry Motorsports, out front behind him. His teammate Lucas Zabo sits right in front of Emerson Reed, and the Josh Hodes teammates 3rd and 4th currently as they start to close back in. Emery Lida just in the back of the shot there as he tries to work forward towards his teammates as they come through the final couple corners of this Newcastle Motorsports Park complex with just under 3 minutes plus 2 laps remaining.
Here we go, 3 minutes, 2 plus 2 laps remaining. Like you said, Emery Lida sees that as well. He knows that if Emerson Reed pushes away with Lucas Zabo, that goes his chance at a podium. He'd love to bring home some hardware, but his teammate is doing what's best for himself and not what's best for the two boys in gold and black. By pushing Lucas Zabo, he'll make it a 2-kart race, and he can wait a moment until he wants to try and find his way by for 2nd. Emerson Reed just showing a lot of patience here with the young driver in front of him, while Josh Campbell all the while just holding station out in front. They're going as fast as he is now. It took them a while to get there. He's not any bit quicker than them. Last time by, they in fact only 1/100th better was Josh Campbell than Zabo. 2 or 3 100ths better than Emerson Reed, but not pulling away anymore, and he hasn't been for some time. He got that gap at a 1.5 seconds, built it up to 2.5 to 3 seconds. It now sits at 4 seconds here. Here's the back next outside the top 5. You've got Eli Warren, or 5th on back, sorry. Eli Warren there in the 6th spot on that red and black Jimmy Simpson racing machine. The white helmet, blue suit combo of James Overbeck's BJR Tony Kart, and the team GWR Tony Kart of Spencer Conrad in 7th. Overbeck, in fact, that time by, I think he was a little quicker than Lida. This time even more. 0.5 seconds better for Overbeck. So 2nd and 3rd glued together leaves Emery Lida in no man's land, and he's now got a pack hunting him down. They're 1.1 seconds away. So Lida might come under fire here for 4th pretty soon.
And Lyda definitely out in no man's land right now with James Overbeck chasing towards him, but out front, Josh Campbell still by himself, quicker than the two karts behind him, working together by just about 0.2 of a second. So tough task for anyone to reel in Josh Campbell at the late stages of this race with just about 3 laps remaining.
Yeah, let's see it here. Up the hill, over towards the cell tower hairpin. Lucas Zabo, Emerson Reed. The timer will hit 0 either right before or right after. I think it'll be right after the leader, Josh Campbell, gets across the line. So this is basically 4 laps to go right now in this KA Stars main event. And Josh Campbell, a big-time lead. Lucas Zabo, Emerson Reed on your screen, second and third. They're getting ready to duke it out for the final 2 spots on that podium. There's Emery Lyda on that Holtz DD Tony Kart. And across the line again, 4 to go. Overbeck still, 3 to go. Yeah, no, 3 to go. Sorry, 2 to go next time by. We were on 4 to go. Now we're 3 to go. Next time the timer will hit 0, and it'll show 2 laps remaining. But just in time to get another one. That's good news for this pack. Overbeck, Warren, and right on there, Spencer Conrad. They have plenty of time now to hunt down Emery Lyda.
Last time by James Overbeck, a half second quicker than Emery Lyda, now getting assistance from that draft effect. He's closing in as we head towards the hairpin into the infield section of this track. He's showing some good pace, quicker than your leader last time by, so James Overbeck, look for him to start making some moves. And just behind him, the 2 karts also running quickly, Eli Warren and Spencer Conrad. Conrad, fastest kart on track last time by, fastest lap of the race overall with a 1:13.47. So this group of 3 just behind Emery Lyda reeling him in, and we'll start to see a battle here momentarily as it's just about 2 kart lengths separating the 2 now.
Here we go over to the double stick signal. 2 laps remaining and a 4-car battle about to break out for 4th on back. Lyda, Overbeck, Warren, Conrad to the final turn. Overbeck setting up for a big run down the front straightaway here, coming to 2 to go. James Overbeck tucks his head behind the wheel. Lyda knows the pressure's coming. Look at this as well. Emerson Reed's gotten around Lucas Zabo for second. He gets through. Lyda, Overbeck around the outside. What a move. James Overbeck around the outside and uses the banking to get through, as Conrad still was able to do the same. He got around Eli Warren. So Lyda back to 5th. And more pressure coming. Overbeck has gotten away. Here comes Conrad to the inside. Lyda tries to shut the door. He does on the rookie. Holds on to that 5th position.
Yeah, and James Overbeck wasted no time there in turn 2. Emery Lyda went defensive. It didn't matter to James. He went and took the long way around the outside, made the move stick, and clears Emery Lyda and leaves him to fend with the 2 drivers he was fighting with, Eli Warren and Spencer Conrad, who have now arrived at Emery Lyda's rear bumper.
Here's a look back to 2nd and 3rd. Emerson Reed pulling a car length up on Lucas Zabo. He was able to slingshot engage him on the front stretch. Now he's going to have to try and prevent that for Zabo's sake. This time by, Reed looks pretty good through the 90s. That gap's open to a car length. Zabo closes up really nicely there through the second to last right-hander. And at the white flag, Reed's got company. Here comes Zabo. Reed's going to leave that door slightly cracked. Does he go low into the corner? He opens up normally. Was inviting him almost to go on by. Zabo did not go, surprisingly enough. And Overbeck back there at the end of the screen there. You can see him in 4th, just kind of watching. They're side by side with Lyda versus Conrad. That's all happening. It's going to allow Overbeck to get away. All the while, 4.5 seconds up the road for Josh Campbell.
And surprising to see no defense offered from Emerson Reed, but also Lucas Zabo not taking any advantage of it early in the lap. Emerson Reed content to run his normal line, not worried about Lucas Zabo from behind. Just behind them, that battle rages on for the 4th, 5th, and 6th positions. Now you see Emerson Reed start to go defensive. Lucas Zabo trying to cross him up, trying to go a long way around the outside. Not going to make it stick that time. Emerson Reed holds on to that P2 position as it stands.
Coming to the checkered flag for Josh Campbell, though, as they battle for second to the final few corners. What a performance. Flag to flag. Absolutely dominant. Josh Campbell is king of the castle in KA Stars. He wins a barn burner main event behind him, but nothing but clear racetrack on his end. And Emerson Reed, E-Train, gets home in 2nd. Lucas Zabo in 3rd. James Overbeck will get 4th. And that battle at the line, Lyda hangs on to the top 5 in 5th. Conrad 6th. Eli Warren 7th. Drew James hits its personal best lap on the last lap of the race to finish 8th. Got around Dominic Tesoro late in the going. Rafe Shaw on that BJR LN kart rounds the top 10. And man, oh man, what a drive back forward. How about that for Mick Gabriel? He rebounds all the way to 13th. Fastest lap of the race by 2/10. Mick Gabriel was hauling the mail after having to go all the way about 100 feet wide in turn number 2. That's incredible, but at the same time, an incredible performance from Josh Campbell here, Simon.
Yeah, certainly a good race. A lot of chaos at the start. Mick Gabriel getting caught up, goes all the way around the barriers, keeps his foot pinned, comes back onto the track in last place, drives it all the way back to 13th. As we look through the order, Drew James, notable, moved up 20 positions from 28th to 8th in that 929 machine. So let's run you through the order real quick. Josh Campbell, your winner. Emerson Reed, P2. Rounding out your podium, Lucas Zabo. James Overbeck comes home 4th. Emery Lida holds on for P5. Spencer Conrad, P6. Eli Warren, P7. Drew James, P8. Dominic Tesoro, P9. Rafe Shaw, P10. Outside that, Brandon Atkins, P11, Garrett Davis, P12, Mick Gabriel on that drive back to 13th, Oliver Piatek, P14, Grant Vogel, P15, Anthony Rivera, P16, Eli Fox, P17, Mika Colbert, P18, Harbor Das, P19, Addison Ianello, P20.
You can see the rest of the results as they filed through. Heartbreak for Dalton Haynes, Finn Bailiff, Tristan Farber, and a handful more that did not get to finish. Farber actually got back going, I think stayed around at the very end, but they all dropped down. Gabriel up a number of spots. Piatek up the most from his starting position. We now send it down as the final few drivers come into the scale line as we get set for Pro Stars action. Alexander Searle, Caleb Vieska on pit lane. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Xander. We're here starting 20th in the back row, row 10 with Max Hewitt. Max had an issue in the pre-final. Seems like something on your chassis broke. How are you feeling coming into this race?
I mean, I'm just here to have some fun, so just see what happens. Kind of sucks, but it's whatever.
Sounds good. Right next to him, starting on row 10, we have Vincenzo Saracino. Very unlucky for you in the pre-final. You going to have fun today?
Oh yeah, I'm looking to go to the front, hopefully top 5, podium if possible, you know?
Sounds good. Moving up to row 9, Justin White starting 18th. Right next to him, we have Eric Hugh. Row 8, we have Chris Verino. And right next to him, we have David Carmody. Moving up to row 7, we have Robbie Campbell and Zach Frank. Row 6, we have Tegan Poles and Cameron Reed. Very fast, we're going to go over here with Tegan Poles. Tegan, going to be super fun today. You got new tires on. How you feeling?
Feeling good. Loving this track. First time I've been here, and I'm really having a blast. So excited to go, I guess, for 15 minutes plus 2.
Sounds good. Moving on here with Cameron Reed. Cameron, you're under the Magic Kart tent this weekend. How you feeling coming into this race?
It's my first shifter race, so I'm just going out there learning every session. The team's been great, so hopefully we can pick up a few more spots.
Sounds good. Moving up to row 5, we have Ian Quinn and Ayrton Hernandez. Moving up to row 4, we have Gavin Bailiff. Gavin, you've been quick all weekend. How are you feeling coming into this main?
Feeling confident. I think we were lacking a little bit on the used tires. We've been quick on the new, so I think just got to get there in the beginning, and I think we'll be really close.
Sounds good, Gavin. Thank you and good luck. Moving on with Josh Concord. Josh, you were talking to me about tire wear in the first race. You don't have to worry about that now. How are you feeling coming into this main?
Feeling pretty good. Feeling like we got a pretty good piece under us here in this Vermont Kart Company, Carbless Racing Engines, Maranello. Just going to look for a clean start and kind of work our way forward.
Sounds good. Thank you, Josh, and good luck. Moving on to Michael Riccio. I think I got that right. Was that right? All right. Under the Magic Kart tent, you've been quick all weekend as well. How are you feeling starting from 6th?
I'm just going to hold my own and see if I can move up.
Sounds good. Good luck. Moving on to Annie Rule. Annie, you started in 7th in the pre-final. You're up to 5th. Further up on the grid, starting on the 3rd row. How are you feeling?
Feeling pretty good, feeling pretty confident. We got 3 Magic Karts in a row. I'm ready to rename this event to King of the Castle. Queen of the Castle. Oh my.
Queen of the Castle by Annie Rule. All good. Best of luck. Moving on to Colin Daly, the fastest man in the Caribbean. How are you feeling? Talk to us about your race today.
I'm feeling good. The kart is, being much better right now. All the changes we made, it's working out. So we have new tires now. Let's see how it goes.
Good luck, man. Moving on to Talon Yako. Talon, you've been quick all weekend under the Magic Kart tent like always. How are you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. Just ready to have some fun and try to win this race.
Sounds good. Best of luck, Talon. Up next with Tim. Tim, you came all the way from Germany for this race. How are you feeling? Looking for the whole start in P2.
I'm feeling pretty good, and I think it will be a fight.
Sounds good. A fight it will be indeed, as we have our our national level driver, AJ Myers, coming off a big win from USPKS here at Stars. Last minute drive for you, and you're on pole. How do you feel looking for the whole shot?
Feeling good. I'm holding for an easy one, but I'm ready for the fight.
Sounds good. Back to you, Xander. It's going to be a good one.
All right, thank you, Caleb here. It's time for the boys and girls on Pro Stars to suit up for the main event. And again, as he rocked you through the starting grid, we'll give it to you one more time when they begin to work their way onto the racetrack. A couple moments, let the drivers suit on up here. AJ Myers, Tim Troger, your front row here, leading the two strongest shifter contingents at the circuit this weekend between the SRP Factory Team Maranello squad and the Vermont Kart Company Satellite Maranello team as well. And then, of course, you've also got that Magic Kart USA Factory team with their leading man, AJ Myers. Simon, practice is all important here at so many races and in all kinds of motorsports. Seat time is super critical. How impressive has it been to see AJ Myers put literally a single practice session together Friday and be as fast as he is?
Just speaks to the testament of the quality of driver that he is. Obviously one of our always top 3 national shifter drivers. So talented. We've seen him run up front anywhere he goes. So to come here at one of the longest tracks we go to, this 1.2 mile reverse layout that not many people are used to, hugely impressive to put one session down and immediately find himself at the front.
So with that here, as they begin to get set, we'll wait for the 1 minute signal to be given. There you can see the man in the sombrero. That is Christian Marsh, just keeping an eye on everything. You got our head grid marshal Justin Newcomb getting set to give the drivers the command. The last few suiting up. You can see Tim Troger there doing a couple warm-ups. AJ Myers lined up, sat in his kart. He's ready to go, and we are almost set for the first of our 2 headline divisions, Pro Stars and OKN Pro Stars here. So KA Stars all wrapped up again. Congratulations to Josh Campbell, but he's got no time for a post-race interview because he's got to suit up to race after this in OKN. Let's bring them onto the racetrack and bring the noise for the final gearbox standing start of the weekend and the final time we get to see the Pro Stars get after it. AJ Myers, Tim Troger, there's Talon Yako, Colin Daly, Annie Rule. Remember, Josh Conker was up in the top 5 there in that pre-final. Unfortunately faded back to the 6th spot and starting tail end. There he is, the number 1 plate of Vincenzo Saraceno along with Max Hewitt. A couple of Maranello machines, Hewitt on the SRP Factory Team operation, Saraceno and that Vermont Kart Company Carblos Racing Engines machine. And they will make the warm-up lap here. So critical at this point in the day. Compared to yesterday even, a lot of the data from the track is kind of out the window with 10 degrees cooler air temps, the wind a little bit picking up. We saw a tent nearly look like blown over in that grid walk, Simon.
Yeah, it's certainly the wind's picked up. It's a little bit cooler than yesterday, so not exactly the same conditions. Speaking on that data, we were interviewing Talon Yako last night, and he did extensive data review, said he found a couple of tents heading into today. We'll see what he can do, but out front, AJ Myers, the man we're looking for to take off and possibly walk away with this thing. It's up to Truger to see if he can't give him a solid fight.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, of course, also, when you think about it, right, we haven't really gotten an accurate look at the field since qualifying on Saturday because AJ Myers had a little tire advantage, but even beyond that, through that pre-final, right, there's so much improvement on used rubber. Now we're back on new rubber again. So how's your new tire setup? How many guys even bother to try and spend the extra money to put on new sticker tires and warm up? I'm not sure how many would. Now we know, obviously, AJ Myers, Tim Troger, they probably feel pretty confident on sticker tires, but for the rest of the field, they were half a second off and counting in qualifying. They were closer on the used rubber as the weekends poured on. Has that progress going to transfer, or will they be still a good ways off the pace? Josh Conker lines up a little bit further back than 6th due to a blocking penalty that was handed down from the pre-final. It's moved Michael Riccio up to the 3rd row, which is impressive. His best career starting spot in the Stars Championship Series. Conker lines up alongside Gavin Bailiff on that Black Diamond Carbonado Trinity Karting Group machine. And then you go further back. Ian Quinn and Ayrton Hernandez on row number 5. Tegan Poles and Cameron Reed on row 6. Zach Frank, Robbie Campbell, Chris Farino, David Carmody, Justin White, Eric Hugh, and on the final row, a pair of Maranellos, Vincenzo Saraceno and Max Hewitt. For the final time this weekend, we go to the lights for Pro Stars. Who gets the whole shot? A.J. Myers checks over to the left. He's going to get clear easily over Tim Troger down to turn number 1 and 2, but Troger deep on the brakes on the outside. And oh my goodness, Simon, it looked like we about hit a bird.
Bird was pretty close to getting hit. We have issues in the back. That's the number 223 machine of Eric Hugh. Tough break for the driver early, just outside turn 2. Won't even make it a lap into this final. And it looked like that whole shot, AJ and Tim got one heck of a start. Both of them launching off well clear of that second row. AJ from the inside able to take it through turn 1. But you'll see Talon Yockel settle into 4th, and it looks like possibly Colin Daly up Talon Yockel up into 3rd, possibly Colin Daly into 4th, and Annie Rule follows him closely in that P5 position.
Good start for Josh Conker, getting one over on the rookie Michael Riccio, and was able to outjump him to get to 6th. So the number 3 plate is up. We'll get an idea of how far Vincenzo Saraceno has climbed up the order when they cycle through the line and go across the loop. For A.J. Myers, Tim Troger, the captains of their respective operations across the stripe, 2/10 apart, and what a start, what a rocket ship Talon Yockel's got to go head-to-head with 2 drivers at a world-class level here. It's been such an improving sophomore season for Talon Yockel. He backed up his night fight win at Trackhouse Motorplex, but he wants some wins on the national level outside of his home racetrack in Mooresville, North Carolina, and he's right on the cusp of it here. He's got a perfect view to go to school against one of the best out of Germany in Tim Troger and one of the best out of America in the last 15 years, A.J. Myers, on that factory magic card. He'll round turns 9 and 10 and head towards the cell tower hairpin.
A lot of talent there in front of Talon Yockel. Talon learning off of A.J. Myers, one of the best shifter drivers we've seen in a long time, so he's improved rapidly, and you see him already closing up alongside the back of that back bumper, Tim Troger, as it is the top 3, starting to check out just a little bit over Colin Daly in P4.
So this is where they kind of start to pace themselves a little bit, get into a rhythm, see if they're gaining enough. They got to save a little bit of extra energy and a little bit of extra tire at the end. You can't overdo your stuff too early. You've got sticker rubber. That's tempting to go deeper into the corner to pick up the throttle sooner, but you've got to make it last all the way through the 15 minutes plus 2 laps. Look at this here. What a battle we've got for P5. Annie Rule under heavy fire from Josh Conker, and already your update on Vincenzo Saraceno, 8 spots, no problem. He's up to 12th and is digging up to Tegan poles to try and get by another. See Max Hewitt making up a spot further back, but Josh Conker on the bumper of Annie Rule to try and get back into the top 5.
Vincenzo certainly showing why he has that number 1 plate early into this race, making up 8 spots, like you said, all the way from last in this field. He is working his way steadily up through the field inside the top 5. Familiar drivers from earlier in the day. Josh Conker sliding by Annie Rule there for P5.
Yeah, so now Conker trying to get through. He's half a car back. Looked like he got through, and then ultimately she got back around him. So Annie Rule still there. Conker right behind, and they're keeping their eye closely on Colin Daly up the road there in 4th on that factory DR kart with the Modena power, I believe, KZ. Up the hill we go for the lead. Let's see. Tim Troger back in 2nd, Yockel 3rd. There's the next group of 3 with Daly, Rule, and Conker. Look at this. Gavin Bailiff on the inside and clear on that Black Diamond Carbonado TKG machine. He takes over 7th from Michael Riccio. Back behind Riccio, we'll close it in, is Justin White on the Kartworks Racing USA Maranello. And we've got Ayrton Hernandez, the next one on the list for Vincenzo Saraceno. So here's Riccio on your screen, then Justin White, then Hernandez, and there is your number 1 plate, your reigning champ, Vincenzo Saraceno's Vermont Kart Company Maranello, on the cusp of the top 10 and digging for more. Max Hewitt's picked up a number of spots as well. I think he's already up about 5.
Great start here for Vincenzo.
Whoa.
We see a kick of dust. Not sure what happened there. Possibly a driver dropping tires as we see the fight raging on here just outside the top 5, Xander.
Yeah, here's Hewitt going on the Georgian. The Body Symmetry Eyes Up MD, Body Symmetry MD Eyes Up Racing Beer Arta Zach Frank. He'll lose 2 spots as Hewitt gets through. So does Ian Quinn, and they battle further back. So great fights down the midfield and back of the field, while up front things have still stayed pretty tame. No change. Rule, Conker closing in on Daly. The top 3 evenly spread apart. Here's Justin White's group. He's gotten around Riccio. Ayrton Hernandez, the next one to try and go on the 219. And into turn number 6, Conker just not close enough to get there, but they both are reeling in Colin Daly.
Annie Rule doing a great job early into this race, showing the speed she has inside that Magic Kart machine, that number 204, as she works the back of Colin Daly. She's running him down as she is experiencing a lot of pressure from Josh Conker behind. He'll dive down the inside, won't quite get there. He tries and won't get it on Annie Rule.
Yeah, big lock up there for the rear tires of Josh Conker. That's not what he would have liked to have happen this early in the main event and potentially cook those rears. So no pass made, but a good attempt, a first attempt inside the top 6 that we've seen today. Conker trying to get around Rule. Rule focused forward on trying to get up to and get around Colin Daly on that DRT North America machine. These guys are already 4 seconds back from the top 3. It's Myers, Troger, Yockel, still 1, 2, 3. This is 4th, 5th, and 6th. Then Gavin Bailiff in 7th, a couple seconds away. Justin White a little further back. Vincenzo Saraceno got up to Ayrton Hernandez as there's a move from Conker into the top 5 for the number 3. The Canuck moves his way back forward.
Josh Conker recovering from that penalty in the pre-final, move himself up in front of Annie Rule, tried to go to work on his teammate and Colin Daly up front. AJ Myers starting to settle into a pace. He laid his best lap down of a 106.6. He's backed off to the 107.1, trying to preserve that tire for the end of the race. He's letting Tim Troger get a little bit closer, push him into that air wash, and make sure he has the tire there for the end.
Yeah, Tim Troger trying to, at the same time, pressure AJ Myers here. Still, he has been all race long in that bubble of 4 to 5 tenths away. Yockel trying to get to Troger, Troger trying to get to Myers. It's been kind of a game of inches at this point. That time, a half-tenth better for Tim Troger. He tucks his head behind the wheel, closing in. Big narrow line there for Troger on the SRP Factory Team Maranello. Myers a little bit wider, and it's a very similar story to what we've seen when we see the likes of Marian Kremers go head-to-head with AJ Myers on the national scene, where the European driving style used to racing on tracks with a higher rubber buildup. They train themselves to run narrow into the corner, drive in a little deeper, and then rotate quickly in the center and then have a narrow exit. Myers, growing up on the American circuit, racing the majority of our tracks, a little bit of a wider, sweeper, bigger momentum-based arc into the corner, and it works for him in the setup he's got. These guys here works the setup that they have as well. One of the cool parts of shifter racing, there's so much going on, you really get a good look at the different styles that drivers are able to make go fast.
Yeah, it's certainly awesome to see that difference in driving style. AJ, known for his ability to roll speed through the corner, may not be the latest on the brakes, but he carries the most roll speed out of anybody. Behind him, Tim Troger driving it deep in the corners, trying to get to that gearbox of AJ in front of him, and Talon Yockel lurking out the back, looking for any opportunity he has to take the fight to these top 2.
Yeah, the game of inches as now Myers goes wide. He blows turn 1 and Troger finishes him off there coming out of the corner. Tried to clear himself and Myers drops 2 tires in the dirt. Tim Troger, your new leader. Myers back to second. A very uncharacteristic mistake out of AJ Myers in the 202 Magic Kart. This race has just completely changed.
Absolutely. We don't usually see that out of AJ Myers. Just slipping wide outside turn 2. He'll lose the spot out, get run wide by Tim Troger as he's had that dirt on his tires. It'll take him a few corners to recover that. Now he has to get his head back down and go to work on Tim Troger. Now he's at the disadvantage. He's the one stuck in the air wash. He's going to have to push his tires a little bit harder than he wanted to.
AJ Myers luckily had that mistake with enough time to recover. Not only, again, going wide and getting into the marbles, but Troger making sure he paid for it by clearing himself and having him drop 2 tires in the dirt. Myers now has to kind of play cleanup, maybe another lap or so, and then find 7 tenths over the 207 to hunt him back down and try to battle for the win. As again, a little bit sideways there as the rears looked like they were giving out on him a little. He's got the fast lap of the race at a 106.6. We know the speed was there. Can he get back to that point? Or can Talon Yockel even challenge his Magic Kart USA teammate? Yockel here, the benefit for him, knowing what he knows at this point, unless these two commit to the full season and still can majorly outrun him, this would be a huge points day for Talon Yockel at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Josh Conker, you can see he's all the way back there. That's how far gone these leaders are. This is a new step forward for Talon Yockel to go toe-to-toe with international talent in Tim Troger and one of the best in the United States here, A.J. Myers.
Talon Yockel, very, very impressive, proving himself as one of the top shifter drivers in the country with this run. Learning from A.J. Myers, running under the same tent. He's improved so much recently, now following right in the wheel tracks of his teammate right in front. I'm not so sure he's going to attack AJ rather than let AJ have a chance to go and attack Tim Truger. Tim Truger stretching out the advantage, though. Last lap of 106.7 to AJ's 106.8. So it's going to be tough for AJ to come back. As we see a move a little bit farther back. That's Gavin Bailiff shoving down the inside of Andy Rule. Not going to quite make that one stick.
Good turnaround by Rule to kind of reverse that and get back around Gavin Bailiff. So Andy Rule hangs on to that sixth position. Colin Daly also, by the way, he's had Josh Conker get by him. So Conker has worked his way up to fourth while we focused forward, gotten both around Rule and around Colin Daly. And the number 3 plate is up to position number 4 as Rule and Daly fade backwards. Bailiff going forwards. He's bringing Justin White with him. And Vincenzo Saracino, who started dead last, that Vermont Kart Company Maranello, is also on the way forward, all closing in on the magic of Annie Rule and that Black Diamond Carbonado Trinity Karting Group entry of Gavin Bailiff, the first one to get there.
Annie Rule under a lot of pressure as we come through the closing stages of this lap. She has 3 drivers behind her, all quick. The first one in line, Gavin Bailiff, tried a move last time into turn 2, wasn't quite able to make it stick. He's a couple kart links back this time, won't try it, and he goes defensive anyway. Right behind that, it is the number 239 of Justin White, followed closely by Vincenzo Saracino all the way from the back of the field. What a drive up a few more positions. It's going to be a really good day for Vincenzo if he can come back from that.
Yeah, it'd be phenomenal. Again, it's already impressive enough that he's gotten to where he's at, gotten to the end of this back top 10 group from 5th or 6th on backwards for Vincenzo to get to 9th. He's trying to get a little bit more out of it. Your update on the leaders while we stay focused back here, it was a 1/10 of a second better for A.J. Myers that time by. He still needs a little more to gain on Tim Troger, but at least he's gaining ground. That's what we want to see if we want to fight on our hands for the final few laps. Here's Conker, Daly, here's Annie Rule, Bailiff, Justin White, and then Vincenzo Saracino, all in a 4-car, nearly 5-car train from Daly in 5th back to 9th with Saracino.
Bailiff closing in lap by lap. Like we said, tried that move 2 laps ago, couldn't quite make it stick. He's a little closer than last lap by. Closing up to that rear bumper, Annie Rule. She went defensive last time. Will she again? No, he makes the dive over and on top of Annie Rule, and all 4 of them make contact.
Oh, man, Gavin Bailiff just barely misjudged it, and that was a hard impact for Annie Rule and for Gavin Bailiff, and just like that, their days are done. Gavin Bailiff nearly got bucked out of the seat when he went up and over the left rear tire of Rule. I think he might have clipped her arm a little bit, and a hard racing deal at turn number 2. Collects Saracino and Justin White kind of by association. They had to go way wide and avoid it. That was wild.
Wow, couldn't have expected that. Annie Rule facing a lot of pressure, but Gavin Bailiff just a little too late when he popped out, clipped that right rear Annie Rule and straight over the top, got all 4 drivers involved in that contact. As we look back up towards the front of the field, A.J. Myers still lost a little bit that last time by. It was about 0.6 of a second slower. Tim Truger putting it
Michael Riccio. Michael Riccio is out as well in the 219, and possibly a mechanical failure unrelated to that incident. He was 11th last time by.
Like I was saying, Tim Truger, a 106.697 last time, just 300ths off AJ's fastest lap, but 0.6 faster than AJ last time by. So starting to stretch his advantage out, and Talon Yockel hanging closely onto that rear bumper of his teammate in A.J. Myers.
I don't know if it could be attributed back to that one mistake, or maybe just the Magic's not as good as the Maranellos on the setup here, just missing it by a touch. Tim Troger in his American debut is just a couple of laps away from stomping the field here with this one. A great run through the heat races, a good run in the pre-final. Came up a little bit shy as A.J. Myers worked his way by him and pulled away. But when the heat was on here in the afternoon and they went back to sticker tires, he's looking good. This time by, there will not be enough time for another. It'll be 3 to go, basically, for Tim Troger. He makes a little adjustment there. He starts to pull gears, and A.J. Myers, I think, has realized he had no shot at catching Troger. He's going to let Talon Yockel go through and give a little more points for his teammate who's running for the championship.
Good show of sportsmanship by the two teammates there. AJ Myers knowing he's not able to get to the front, and his teammate Talon Yockel leading the points currently. Everything's going to help him get to the end of the season and secure his championship. Repping the number 2 plate this year, vice champion last year. He's headed for the championship this year. That's his goal. So every point he can score is going to help build that advantage towards the later stages of this season.
Yeah, I mean, every bit. And again, a big class act move from A.J. Myers. A last-minute entry here. Woulda, coulda, shoulda at this point. It's one thing to be the superhero that's able to make that last-second call and go run up front, and he did. But this is where he'll come away from the weekend and say, well, man, if we would have just made that decision Thursday night, got me a few more sessions, we could have tried to experiment a little bit more with the conditions and things with the go-kart. But whatever the case may be for A.J. Myers on new rubber, just not enough to contend with Tim Troger, and letting Talon Yockel finish this one out here in second, just up the road from him. He'll keep him honest, stays on his bumper there, and is going to get a great view from a driver coaching perspective to see what he can do to help his young, talented teammate in second. But 2 to go, plenty of space out back to kind of ride as Josh Conker rolls on about 7 seconds away from the top 3.
I can tell you, I'd love to hear that post-race debrief between the Magic driver camp to see what advice A.J. Myers has, sitting behind his teammate, seeing what he can do different, how he can improve. Obviously, Talon gotten a lot better already this season, establishing himself at the top of the shifter scene.
And now, with a lap and a half remaining, Tim Troger can just really open up the gap and have some fun with it. He's going to come see the white flag this time by. The gap last time 2.7 seconds. As everyone else has fallen off, he's the only driver that's been able to stay in that 106 second bracket, stay within a tenth of a second of his best lap of the race at a 106.697. 1 to go. Troger finally slows down a little, couple tenths off. 2 more tenths off for Talon Yockel, and of course Myers a little further as he was letting him by. Some dust there. That's more so kicked off by the road behind the track over at turn number 2. I don't think anyone went off this time, but we've definitely had a lot of attrition in this main event here, Simon.
Yeah, certainly a masterclass drive by Tim Troger as he wraps up this last lap. Consistency has been key. The tire management on point for the German driver in that number 207 machine as he completes this last half lap, headed towards the checkered flag, Xander.
Yeah, final time to the cell tower. Tim Troger, a last-minute call just weeks prior to come and drive for the brand newly formed SRP factory race team and the Maranello chassis. The German driver, his first trip ever to America, and he's going to have to check an extra bag going home through the final 2 turns. Tim Troger, and for the debut of the SRP factory team, it is a win on debut, and he is king of the castle. Tim Troger wins round 2 of the championship.
Wow, what a race. What a drive by Tim. What a wild ride for some of the drivers. Gavin Bailiff, Andy Rule getting together 5 laps ago. A lot of action, a lot of excitement, but it is the number 207 coming home in first place. Behind him, Talon Yockel coming home P2 will extend his points advantage. A.J. Myers letting him by will clean up that last spot on the podium. Josh Conker coming home 4th. Colin Daly wraps up your top 5. Outside that, Justin White, Vincenzo Saraceno, Ayrton Hernandez, Ian Quinn, and Max Hewitt are your top 10. Some celebratory donuts from Tim Troger as he is ecstatic with his drive this weekend.
Yeah, one little 360. We'll have to show him a little bit how we get down over here on this side of the pond, but how about that for Tim Troger? A quick little donut, a little bit of extra brake lockup, and a big Stars Championship Series King of the Castle trophy in the Pro Stars division to take home with him on his way back. Hopefully we get to see him back some more later this year. Thanks to the SRP factory team for bringing him on over, and congratulations to them for their win on debut in Pro Stars. Talon Yockel and A.J. Myers make it a Magic Kart USA 2nd and 3rd. Then it's the Vermont Kart Company group with Josh Conker in 4th. DRT North America on the Medinas in 5th. And then down the order there you can see Hate It for Annie Rule, Gavin Bailiff, Michael Riccio all going out with 5 to go. Bailiff and Rule in that spectacular crash, and luckily all drivers are okay. We'll see who we can hear from when we get a moment from the Pro Stars main event. But there's a lot of cleanup to do, and we've still got one more race headed your way down on pit lane for OKN Pro OKN Stars. Let's send it to Alexander Searle.
Thanks, Xander, here at the calm before the storm, here for the OKN feature race. I'm going to do a little grid walk here, walk you through your starting lineup here in OKN. Row 9, Jared Banks. Row 8 is going to be Brooke Knockman, Adam Roberts. Row 7, Braden Doming and Miles Hewitt. Row 6, Charlie Steins and Keegan Bosch. Keegan, not really where you expected you to be this weekend. What is it that you're missing for the pace?
So we have had a lot of engine issues this past coming weekend and before at night fight. So we've been struggling with getting the engine set to go. The chassis is good. I think I got my line set down. We just got to find a little bit of missing piece to compete with the rest of the field.
All right, thanks, Keegan.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, here we go. Moving up to row 5. We're going to go to Josh Holtz. Josh, again, rolling off P10. You told me before this interview you said, struggling maybe more with the driver than the chassis. Is that what it is?
Yeah, a little bit. Need to find a little grip in the kart, but definitely need to drive a little bit better for this one.
All right, thanks, Josh. On his inside is going to be Eli Fox. Eli, talk to me, man. How's your weekend going? How do you feel for this race?
I'm feeling pretty good. It started off pretty rough. Didn't really get out and get a good qualifying lap or run the first heat, so hopefully we'll make some hay here.
All right, good luck, Eli.
Thank you.
All right, moving up to row 4, Wes Duchak. Wes, it's been a pretty solid weekend for you on the DR car. I mean, much better than it was at Trackhouse. Consistently top 3, top 4 all weekend long. Got pushed off a little bit in the pre-final. How do you feel into this feature race?
I feel pretty good. I mean, the pace has been strong all weekend since qualifying. We just had a little bobble in the pre-final, but it should be good for the final. So,
thanks, Wes.
Of course.
All right, moving on to Ryan Raffa. Ryan, coming off a really strong performance at Trackhouse Motorplex. A little bit off the pace here. I mean, what is it that you're missing to get to the front?
We're missing a little bit of mid-range and a couple kart things, so we made some adjustments. We changed some reads. I think we got the takes now.
All right, good luck, Ryan.
Thank you.
All right, moving up to row 3. We're going to go to your KA Stars winner, Josh Campbell. Josh, how are you feeling going into this race?
I feel good. The adrenaline's wearing off, so I'm getting a little bit tired, but only got, 18 more laps, so I should be able to do it.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Josh. All right, moving on to Nick Terlecki. Aiden Fox. Aiden, rolling up in P5 here, P6, sorry. Talk to me about how you're feeling for this race.
Feeling pretty good. Just can't repeat what I did in the pre-final. Just got to make sure I stay with the front pack off the start, and I think we should be good.
Thanks, Aiden. Moving up here to Brandon Carr. Brandon, you guys have been improving the go-kart all weekend long. You told me before this interview you said you feel pretty comfortable. Feel like you found something for this feature race. Is that true?
Yeah, I think we'll be fine in this one. Just got to keep calm and try and be there at the end and see how it goes.
Thanks, Brandon. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, to his outside, Nick Terlecki. Nick, it's been a pretty quiet but consistent weekend for you here, rolling off in P4. Talk to me how the weekend's been for you and how you feel for this race.
Yeah, we've just been struggling to find some grip in the kart. But I'm feeling confident going into this race, so we're gonna get there.
All right, thanks, Nick.
Thanks.
All right, moving on to row 1, Henry Wheeler. You and Alex Stanfield have been going at it all weekend long. You feel confident for this race?
Yeah, I hope me and Alex can get a little bit of a gap and hopefully do what we did in the pre-final and Heat 1. Yeah, I hope it goes that way, and we'll see what ends up happening.
Thanks, Henry.
Thank you.
All right, Alex Stanfield. Alex, it's been a pretty dominating performance for you all weekend long. We've interviewed you quite a lot. Pole position, heat victories. I mean, how's the go-kart feeling, and are you feeling good for this race?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. I think we got a good go-kart for this final, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, thanks, Alex. That's it for me on the grid walk here. Back to you boys in the booth to call the action from OKN up the feature race.
Thank you, Alex. There you hear from some of our OKN stars. We've got a heck of a battle headed our way. Henry Wheeler and Alex Stanfield have been class of the field. You heard from Ryan Perry earlier today about how well, it's just needing his drivers to get their heads on straight. Josh Campbell looked like he got his on straight pretty well in that KA Stars main event. Hopefully that can transfer into the OKN Pro Stars division as well. The last little bits of track cleanup continues here, and you're watching again from the far side of the circuit. You can see all of the feather flags around Newcastle Motorsports Park flapping still. We've got heavy winds here, not terribly heavy, but enough, just enough that depending which way they go, which direction they are, you could get a bit of a headwind or a tailwind. And of course, Simon can break down the differences of the headwind versus tailwind when it comes to driving on those long straightaways.
Well, I'd say if you're in front, you probably want a tailwind, but with the wind coming straight down this long front straight. It's going to be great for the draft, especially with these OKN Stars that need every bit they can to negate that aero wash. The headwind coming down the front straight is going to put more air over the front of the karts, and the kart in front of a train is going to be breaking more air for the karts behind, so the draft effect is only going to increase with the strength of the wind here. It's in a perfect position to give some drivers some leeway to run with the draft down the front straight, and I'm assuming we're about to have a wild OKN Stars finale.
Well, the bar was set super high when we think back to the series debut of the division back at Trackhouse Motorplex. What a barn burner fight under the lights. It was a true night fight in round number 1 between Brandon Carr, Brent Cruz, and of course the rookie standout Max Taylor getting involved in it, and Alex Stanfield that weekend there just a little bit off where he needed to be. Compare that to this week though, night and day difference, literally night and day difference for Alex Stanfield. He has been the benchmark. Henry Wheeler's been able to get up to his level, rise to the occasion, and battle for the race win and get that pre-final win. Beyond that, everybody else has been chasing the 46.
But even our qualifying sessions and our heat races, which unfortunately we didn't get a chance to broadcast, have been insanely close. We've seen at times 10 drivers in the lead group in this OKN Stars category. So if that's anything to go off of, we're in for an absolute barn burner as the drivers are getting their tires warmed up, headed around their out lap. Let's take you through the order.
Yeah, let's go through it here. Again, Henry Wheeler, what a great performance in that OKN Pro Stars pre-final to get the win. He will be able to be the reason that Alex Stanfield starts anywhere besides the pole here today. Stanfield has to start on the outside, second for the first time all weekend. He's not leading us to green. Brandon Carr, the championship points leader in the RPM Tony Kart, rolls off P3 alongside Hotes DD driver Nicholas Terlecki. Row number 3's got Josh Campbell, so it's an RPM 3.5 on the lineup. To his outside, Aiden Fox in the Fox & Son Racing Tony Kart. Row number 4, Wes Ducek on that DRT North America Modena-powered DR chassis rolls off 7th. To his outside, Ryan Raffa in the Full Tilt Racing Tony Kart. And then row number 5 here, we've got Josh Hotes there on the inside, Eli Fox on the outside. You can see Terlecki's got a little bit of paper, I think, on that left front tire. Hopefully he's still got grip as they come under power. And here we go down to turns 1 and 2. Can Alex Stanfield rip around the outside? No. Henry Wheeler holds the lead. Stanfield through the dirt. More drivers off in the dirt, and it is a dust cloud coming out of the turn 1-2 complex.
Not sure what all went on there, but definitely not the cleanest of starts. Only a wheel or two dropped, though, so no drivers out yet. As we see him move to the inside, move Brandon Carr up to second. He'll pot the number 46 machine straight off of the track.
Alex Stanfield all of a sudden, his dominating run just got a whole lot harder. He got hip checked there as Carr went through, and now he's all the way behind Josh Hotes, and at the end of the top 10, trying to get his way back forward. The driver who's dominated the most this weekend, way back, as Brandon Carr and Josh Campbell now are going to try and hook up to hunt down Henry Wheeler's Brandon Jarsucrack Racing Lando Norris kart. Over the short chute into turn 15, about a half-second gap already. They have not been as fast, so I'm curious, will Brandon Carr and Josh Campbell have enough early lap speed, not just to shuffle this guy to the back of the grid, but to try and get Henry Wheeler behind him too, because Henry Wheeler was just as fast, if not faster, than Stanfield through that pre-final.
Brandon Carr certainly not afraid to get his elbows out early here, moving himself all the way up in the second position, starting to run down your leader, Henry Wheeler. The two teammates in second and third hooked up together, trying to chase down that Lando Norris kart out in front, the number 18, who's been strong all weekend. Alex Stanfield, the other driver we expected to be running up the front, has dropped all the way down to P8 after that incident with Carr on the opening lap.
So, yeah, Brandon Carr now under pressure from Josh Campbell as Stanfield still rides behind Josh Hotes here with Carr getting a little push from Josh Campbell. They're going to get a little closer. Aiden Fox is also having a great start to his main event here with Henry Wheeler out in front. They are reeling him back on in. That BJR MDR machine's not out in the clear just yet, and the number 15 is on the move. Josh Campbell going along with him. If Fox gets there as well and it becomes a bigger group, all of a sudden that pack could back up into the rest of the top 10. Wes Ducek runs 5th ahead of Nick Terlecki. They're on the black and red DR kart. Josh Hotes is there in 7th, and Stanfield's on his tail through the final corner trying to work his way back forward. Look at Carr. Little bit of adjustment there on the carburetor. Here he comes inside. Not enough there at the end of the straightaway. Just pounded the limiter at the last second.
And he'll smartly back out of that one, live to fight another day as he backs up into Josh Campbell. But look to the inside.
Aiden Fox, what a move there for third.
Won't quite complete that. He'll get crossed over and move Josh Campbell back up into third spot. Good fights already as they come out of the corner side by side. That'll give Brandon Carr a little bit of gap to work with to go and attack Henry Wheeler, who is still out front leading this race.
Yeah, about 2 car lengths the gap here for Henry Wheeler. Back to Brandon Carr as third and fourth are going to trade spots again. This time Fox, cell tower corner. Clear, and the number 13 Fox & Son karting machine. And coming now into frame is Wes Duchak. Welcome to the show, Wes Duchak on the DRT North America Factory DR Kart. Josh Holtz is now falling behind to 8th, which means Alex Stanfield is 7th, and Nick Terlecki splits the pair of Duchak and Stanfield there in the 6th position. Here we go, 2 full laps completed. Stanfield on the move. Henry Wheeler continues to lead.
And Terlecki looking like he's getting to that rear bumper of Wes Duchak as we look up front. Brandon Carr still not making that move yet on Henry Wheeler for the lead. It's the 2 of them, a few kart links back, and then a whole group, the rest of the top 10, all nose to tail here, Xander.
Brandon Carr rolled that shark fin Monza corner pretty nicely. He's still about a car length or 2 away, but he needs to set up for maybe a low-speed kind of pass. It seems like that end of the straightaway is not going to work out for him. Almost. Oh, he had a little look there going to turn 8. Didn't do it, but he's definitely close enough for something if he can get the run through 9 and 10. Here he goes through the flat-out kink. Can Carr throw it down the inside? Not this time. He stays in line. And Aiden Fox, fastest he's been all season for Aiden Fox in the number 13. I mean, he is really moving right now, and that is impressive to say the least here with still 11 minutes plus 2 laps to go.
And your fastest driver on track with the fastest lap of the race so far, it is Alex Stanfield back in that P7 position after being shoved off early. We'll see how far he can make it back up through this field with the kind of pace that he's displayed. He's all over the back of Nick Terlecki, who in turn is putting the pressure on Wes Duchak.
Down the front stretch, Duchak might come under fire. Carr close enough to Wheeler. He's going to push him, though, down to turn number 2. Stanfield to the inside and clear on Nick Terlecki. And out of there, he says, all right, yep, to the front, let's go, all good. And Alex Stanfield is now up to 6th as he tries to march back forward. 10 minutes plus 2 laps still, and 3 car lengths back from Wes Duchak, headed through that infield hairpin. For the team GWR Gillard, it's taken him a minute to carve through the field as now Aiden Fox is carving. P2 for the number 13.
An awesome run for Aiden Fox, showing the most speed we've seen out of him so far. That number 13 machine in Fox and Speed Racing headed towards the front. Henry Wheeler has not been the fastest on track, only a 109.8 last time by. Alex Stanfield still the fastest on track, a 109.3, but even the drivers behind him, Aiden Fox was a 109.4 last time by, so a lot of speed out of that number 13 kart right now.
Yeah, he still looks really good. I mean, Aiden Fox being so much quicker than the race leader, he in theory should hunt him down within about a half lap, but not with a mistake like that. Drop the left rear tire off the racetrack. Does it again coming on the front straightaway. He's trying to get some help from Carr. I think Carr is going to give him one more opportunity to keep going, but if he makes mistakes like that, Henry Wheeler, we've seen him pull away with Stanfield. He might do it again. As Stanfield gets into the top 5, he gets around Duchak, and now he's only one more driver away from getting back to the guy who sent him down the pack, Brandon Carr, who rides in third.
Stanfield displaying some incredible pace here so far. Henry Wheeler picked it up on that last lap, 2 tenths faster than Aiden Fox last time by. Obviously with the wheel dropping off at the end of that lap, Aiden Fox lost a little bit of time, and Brandon Carr has not attacked that quite yet, but we're seeing the lines start to form. Aiden Fox, Brandon Carr, and Josh Campbell all nose to tail as they work to chase down that number 18 of Henry Wheeler out in front.
Yeah, let's see if he can get there. Aiden Fox in the number 13, Fox & Son Karting X-Prix. This time looks a little bit better with a big run coming out. Fox & Son Karting LN Kart. And through the final 3 turns, I think he might have made back up for what he lost last time. So he's going to go back to around that 4 to 5 tenth margin off the leader, if I'm not mistaken. A 109.7 for Wheeler, a 109.5 for Fox, 2 tenths better. He's closing up. Stanfield still with a good lap, a 109.7 while making a pass. He's now closing in towards Josh Campbell. That drive forward, not done yet. He's headed for 4th.
And Stanfield still with just under 8 minutes plus 2 laps remaining. It's plenty of time for him to get some more moves done, especially if the fight can be taken at the front. Henry Wheeler coming under pressure again from Aiden Fox. He's gotten back to that rear bumper, the driver in the lead.
Yeah, he's only half a car length away. Aiden Fox continuing to get closer and closer to Henry Wheeler through the double rights over to turn number 11, a car length back for Henry Wheeler to Aiden Fox, and a car length as well to Brandon Carr. As soon as Fox makes his move for the lead, it'll open up the floodgates for a lot of battling, a lot of shuffling through the field. 7 minutes and 20 seconds plus 2 laps to go as they head down through the right-hander and over to the final few corners.
Aiden Fox showing a lot of speed. He'll go to the inside. Aiden Fox to the lead of this race. Your new OKN Stars leader, Aiden Fox, makes the pass in one of the 90s. We have not seen many passes there this weekend, but he gets it done on Henry Wheeler, takes the lead, and Henry Wheeler close up to his rear bumper as they look to check out from the drivers behind. It is now a 3-kart battle at the front with Brandon Carr following in tow. Josh Campbell coming under pressure from Alex Stanfield in that 5th position.
Through the Monza corner, through the shark fin. So for Aiden Fox, leading the way now with a car length gap back to Henry Wheeler. Does Wheeler get to learn a little bit? Can he go a little bit faster? We kind of saw that when he trailed Stanfield in that pre-final and then pulled away in the final couple laps once he got around him. For Brandon Carr being right there, I mean, he's getting a good bit of learning as well done. While Stanfield through on Josh Campbell for P4 in the cell tower. Nick Terlecki tried to follow. He could not. Alex Stanfield now up to 4th. The gap out front from him about a second to the one guy who sent him down the order, Brandon Carr in 3rd.
And with still over 6 minutes plus 2 laps remaining, Alex Stanfield with plenty of time to get to work here on the drivers in front, showing the pace he has. He's worked through all the way back up to P4. We'll see if he can bring that margin down anymore. It's a 2.5 seconds in front to Brandon Carr. And look at that. Down the inside goes Nicholas Terlecki. He'll make the move on Josh Campbell, and it will stick out of turn 2, Xander.
Yeah, into the top 5 now for Nick Terlecki. Josh Campbell back to 6th. Wes Duchak, the next one in line to try and work his way around the number 26. The KA Stars main event winner, Josh Campbell, slipping in the wrong direction right now in this OKN Stars main event. Nick Terlecki was as fast as Carr early on, and then it's kind of not been there to keep up with him. He's now trying to follow in the footsteps of Alex Stanfield, having fallen behind him earlier. And let's see if the number 88 Hotes DD Tony Kart can do so. They're 2.5 seconds away from the lead, about a second back for the rear bumper of Brandon Carr. Some work to be done. It'll need to be a flawless drive for either one of them in 4th or 5th to get a shot onto the podium, as Aiden Fox is going to put now 8 laps completed. This would be a major victory. Of course, we saw Aiden Fox winning on the Kart Chaser stage in the Rotax Winter Trophy races earlier this year, but that field, a much lower competition level. Only a couple of superstars like Noel Leon and Dudu Barrichello. Here you've got a lot more at the front end in the competitive level of the class. Fox, this would be another step towards solidifying himself as a national race-winning championship contender, and especially as he looks towards that Stars Championship Series title, a big statement and a big amount of points.
And what a drive so far for Aiden Fox, a 10th faster than Henry Wheeler last time by. The only driver on track to match his pace is Alex Stanfield in that P4 position, putting 2/10 on the drivers in front of him, so he's starting to close back up. Still about a second margin from Stanfield to Carr. We'll see if he can reel that in as the race progresses on, but the pace out front has picked up with Aiden Fox now in the lead. Henry Wheeler not quite able to match his pace. Currently, neither is Brandon Carr. The front 3 starting to spread out a bit with 4 minutes plus 2 laps remaining. They'll come through the final couple of 90s and close this lap with another Aiden Fox-led lap. We'll see what the time comes across. Another 109.3. Henry Wheeler matching the time last time by. Nicholas Terlecki, though, purple lap that time. Also a 109.3, but the fastest lap of the race so far down in P5.
Yeah, there were 4 drivers within 400s that lap. Fox and Wheeler, Stanfield, and Terlecki. Brandon Carr was not one of them. He was about 2/10 off the pace of the leaders last time by. That's bad news for Brandon Carr and the RPM Tony Kart crew, because Alex Stanfield is now only a second back to try and rob them of that podium. And this weekend, they're battling for the championship. They come into this weekend as the 2 highest point scorers from Trackhouse Motorplex. While Henry Wheeler, Aiden Fox, yeah, that's important to try and get them and to try and get the race win. If you're thinking title fight, you're thinking that you've got to beat 1 or 2 guys based on how they performed in the opening round of the season. And along with that, of course, for Brandon Carr, knowing that he kind of roughed up Stanfield a little bit on that opening lap, and Stanfield may have felt like he had a shot at the win, I wouldn't want that guy getting back up to me either, Simon.
No, you wouldn't, but he is on his way, closing ever so slightly up towards the front. A 109.276 is almost the fastest lap. Only Aiden Fox going quicker than that last time by. Aiden Fox, the quickest driver on track out front. That's caused the top 3 to continue to spread out. Now 7/10 of a second advantage over Henry Wheeler, about the same back to Carr, and then Stanfield down to 8/10 advantage for Carr over Stanfield. Stanfield's reeling that gap in lap by lap.
Yeah, little by little, Alex Stanfield is chipping away to get himself at least something to walk away from this weekend. Pole Award, heat race wins, second in the pre-final, in the dirt here in the main. It'd be an impressive run back up to third in this OKN Pro Stars field. For Aiden Fox, though, the gap opening up slightly. That 1/10 advantage he had over Henry Wheeler added now to a 7/10 total gap back from first to second, and he's just running it out. All he's got to do again is just run that clock down to 0. No different than when a basketball team has the lead or anything else. That's not what you do, though. Dropping that left rear tire off the far side of the circuit, coming onto the front straightaway for Fox. That is going to be a little bit dirty down by turn 2, and it still was a good enough lap that he was able to hold on to it. But he's skirting that edge. He drips another tire there out of turn number 2. Not what you want to see if you're the race leader.
He's using all the track, but every time you drop a tire off the edge, those tires are going to get dirty, and you're going to have to spend a couple corners cleaning them back off to get the max amount of grip back out of them. So Aiden Fox going to want to clean up these next couple laps, see if he can't just secure it and close this race out with a win. Alex Stanfield still 8/10 behind Brandon Carr. The top 3 still with the same spread, and Aiden Fox still your leader.
And now with the clock going towards 0, it'll be on the cushion of whether or not we get the 2. I think we are going to get 2 to go this time, so this is it. This is the final shot. What do you have left in the tank, boys and girls, here in this one? You saw Fox send it in deep. That inside tire hiked way in the air there in the final corner to try, or final couple of turns to try and just really get it down to the apex. He is sending it as far as he can into the corner. That time it opened the gap up a couple hundredths over Wheeler. That was good. Brandon Carr stabilizing about 8/10 up from Alex Stanfield. In fact, Carr that time was quicker than both of the 2 leaders. Everyone else slower than the number 15. But for Aiden Fox here, this would be huge. For Henry Wheeler as well, this is huge. Think back just a month ago to the U.S. Pro Kart Series in Houston, where he was on the cusp of getting his first career national podium in that KA Senior Division and broke a motor, I believe, or a chain with about a couple laps to go. And just like that, a third-place result out the window. Compare that to this weekend with the performance of the BJR MDR-LN kart. I mean, he has won a pre-final. He's battled for the lead through the heats. He's led laps in this main event, and he's staring down a second-place result, his best yet on the pro national scene.
He is. He's looking at it, but Brandon Carr slowly coming back at him. He might have had the best tire management throughout this race, as we are starting to see the times fall off bit by bit, 10th by 10th, as the laps click on. The tire deg starting to play a factor in this race. The pure speed, not what it was at the start of this race. White flag this time by for Aiden Fox. One more lap to do it, in 9/10 of a second advantage over Henry Wheeler.
And Henry Wheeler, like you said, he's fallen back. He's only got a half-second advantage back to Brandon Carr. Carr's getting motivated as well to try and get there for second. It'll be a long shot. He needs a little mistake out of Wheeler. He needs a really good lap out of himself while the leader heads through turn number 6, about a second up the road. The battle almost ready to heat up there for second. We'll see if Brandon Carr can steal one. He's a car length back. Henry Wheeler just needs to hang on. He should be okay. 2 car lengths it opens up to through the double rights. Carr trying to get close. This is the final shot. Can Brandon Carr get there? He's also, of course, on the run from Alex Stanfield after the contact earlier. I don't think he'll get to Wheeler. I don't think Stanfield will get to him. They're going to battle further back. But up front, what a day. Welcome to the Stars Championship Series winner's circle for the very first time. Aiden Fox and the Fox & Son karting team are winners, and they are kings of the castle in OKN Stars. Aiden Fox wins in Newcastle.
What a drive by Aiden Fox. Walking his way past Henry Wheeler, he gets it done. Wins. Henry Wheeler, strong run to come home second, and Brandon Carr round off your podium. We see one car sliding backwards at the end of this race. The 46 Alex Stanfield comes home in P4, Xander.
Yeah, and he was giving a little wag of the fist there to Brandon Carr when he went by him. He was not happy with how Brandon drove him here in this main event. And again, can't blame him for Alex Stanfield to spend almost the entire weekend staring out front, as it looks like a last-second crash here coming to the line for Braden Domey on that Tesoro Raceworks CRG. He is out on the side over by turn number 16, and it also took out another driver, the Tony Kart of what looks to be the 98. That is Charlie Steins, with the bumper ripped clear off that Tony Kart machine. And Keegan Bosch out on the final lap as well on the MPG Motorsports Kart Republic. We saw that battle further back, just starting to really get after it for 7th to about 12th, and it looks like it's exploded here in the final few corners, collecting Keegan Bosch about 200 feet from the finish line. So unfortunate deal there, but with the OKN Pro Stars all wrapped up, we've got a lot to catch up on. Let's first go down to pit lane for a little bit different kind of an interview with Alexander Searle and Caleb Viesca.
Thanks, Xander. Here with Carter Bowles. Carter, you partner with Skip Barber on the marketing side of things and on the car outreach side of things to promote Skip Barber to the karting community out here. How cool is it to see Skip Barber give back to the community in karting?
Yeah, I mean, it's great to be out here, seeing all these kids race. I mean, this is really where it starts. This is where everybody started. This is where the 2023 Indy 500 champion, Joseph Newgarden, started. He came through our series as well. He's a champion from us. Yeah, I mean, you got to really promote these roots of racing. Otherwise, racing doesn't exist without these guys out here today.
Yeah, one more thing. I mean, for somebody out here in the karting community at this racetrack, for example, why should somebody choose Skip Barber to go to?
I mean, Skip Barber's the easiest route to get to. We have our Formula Series. We have a lot of cars in the SRO Series, sports car route. Even, honestly, if you want to be a driver instructor, it's a great option. Sebastian Weldon today in our Formula Series won his first race. Joshua Allenell won the second race. A lot of great young guys coming up, and it's just an easy ladder series to get to many different options in professional motorsports for a lot of these young guys who may not know that there's another easy option to go after karting.
Thanks, Carter. It's great to see, like you said, Skip Barber back in the karting community. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Alex, there. And again, a huge thank you. Skip Barber Racing School, of course, stepping up. They'll be a big partner with all of our Kart Chaser national level broadcasts through the remainder of the 2023 calendar. And we're so stoked to have them here. The CMO, Dan DeMonte, was on property earlier on Friday and Saturday. And Carter Bowles helping. He's going to be around the paddock. So if you see Carter, or if you've had any interest in the Skip Barber Race School, you can come and find any of our KC members if you're looking to expand outside of the motorsports community that we're in with just karting. They can help you get there and explain everything about it. They've got some great instructing, driving-based schools, some great driving experiences, and of course, as he mentioned, this weekend going on, they've got their Arrive and Drive F4 Formula Racing Series, where you just show up with your helmet and you get seat time in an F4 open-wheel winged race car. And Sebastian Weldon, who was racing here at Newcastle Motorsports Park this time last year, just got his first career win in the series. Super cool for him, and super cool in the OKN Stars main event to see a first-time winner at the Stars Championship Series in Aiden Fox. Congratulations are in order once again for the Fox & Son karting team, and Henry Wheeler, Brandon Carr completing the podium, Alex Stanfield fourth, Nick Terlecki rounding the top 5. Wes Duchek, Josh Holtz, Josh Campbell, Eli Fox, Ryan Raffa, and Miles Hewitt, your top 10. A lot more to still unpack. We're going to try and do that. So let's go to commercial break. When we come back, you'll hear from some of the top finishers. Welcome back here to the Stars Championship Series King of the Castle here from Newcastle Motorsports Park. Myself and Simon Sykes here in the booth, but we've got Alexander Searle down on the pit lane. The top three from the Pro Stars main event are standing by here for interviews.
AJ, I mean, what an up and down weekend for you, right? I mean, came here last minute entry, just entered in final practice, put it on pole. Kart wouldn't start in Heat 1. Heat 2 you won, pre-final you won. And the final, you couldn't really keep the kart underneath you. I mean, talk to me about that feature race.
Yeah, it's quite confusing. I made some changes to Talon's kart after that pre-final, put them kind of to my setup, and I left mine alone. And yeah, I went out there and I couldn't keep it underneath me while he had a really great go-kart, and I'm not really sure what happened there.
All right, thanks, AJ.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, as AJ goes off, we're bringing Talon Yockel P2 finish here for the Magic Kart boys. Talon, talk about your race.
Started in P3, I had a pretty good start, got away from the rest of the field, and I was able to just cling on to AJ and Tim, and I don't know what happened with AJ. Like he said, he couldn't keep it under him, and I was happy with my setup, and I was able to get second place after, I'm pretty sure he just messed up his braking in this corner over here, but other than that, I'm happy to finally beat AJ for once.
Yeah, I was about to mention, I mean, you came to me after the race and told me how excited you were to finally beat you, like kind of a mentor and coach for you, AJ Myers. I mean, how good does that feel?
It feels pretty good. I know he's thinking, oh, I gotta get him back, but I'm just getting faster and faster every weekend, and now just working on my mindset and just getting faster mentally now.
Awesome, love the confidence, Talon. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, as Talon goes off, we're gonna bring in Tim Troger. Tim, first time in the States, coming all the way from Germany here to race for the Maranello Karting guys. Tim, talk about your race and your weekend as a whole, first time in the States.
I mean, we didn't expect at the beginning to win, but for sure we had good pace. And after the quali, we went to the heats. Unfortunately, AJ had a problem, and then it came together, and now we're here.
Yeah, I talked to the Maranello Karting guys a few times. You know, Josh was telling me, Vincenzo's telling me, you guys are really, really strong on new tires. I mean, why is that?
I mean, I don't really know, but we had a good speed, good pace, and I could beat them.
All right, thanks, Tim. Good job.
Thank you.
Back to you guys in the booth.
Thanks, Alex. Again, impressive stuff from Tim Troger, and funny to hear again, he was like, well, we didn't really expect to come into this one to get a win, but they were able to get it done. And hearing from AJ Myers, he obviously has got a lot he's going to go back to the drawing board for. Nothing frustrating more than what you think would happen with a setup change, and it doesn't, and you've got to figure out exactly what went wrong.
And especially a weird scenario where he said he left Talon on the same setup that he went out on, and it worked for Talon, and it didn't seem to work for him. So definitely a debrief going to have to happen there to see what went wrong for AJ Myers in that Pro Shifter final.
Yeah, a lot for them to sort out for the Magic Kart boys, and a short turnaround because, again, if you're hanging on, we've still got OKN Pro Stars interviews to come, but if not, live coverage is only 6 more days away from going back on with the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour returning at Utah Motorsports Campus. It's a quick run over for the traveling circus that is the Pro National Tour to Salt Lake City, Utah, here from Newcastle, Indiana. So they've got some quick work to do if they want to compete over there for a race win. But at least here from a breezy, dry, and sunny weekend at Newcastle Motorsports Park, it's been a phenomenal weekend for the Stars Championship Series. King of the Castle, no red flags, nothing but good hard racing action, a little bit over the edge, but that's what the officials are here for, and at least we ended up with some good shows there at the end. We're going to take one more commercial break. When we come back, OKN Pro Stars top 3 interviews.
I'm Billy Vincent, owner of MPG Motorsports. What we do at MPG is we try to keep it a nice, fun family atmosphere, try to combine sort of the bigger things and of the bigger teams and the professionalism down with sort of some of the fun sort of family-oriented atmosphere. We try to not only develop drivers, but also the parents and the families for just in knowledge in general in motorsports. It all starts in karting. What we try to do is try to help the drivers, the moms, the dads understand the sport of motorsports in general, not just karting, but what it takes to get all the way up through. Whether you end up wanting to be a driver or a mechanic or an engineer, you know, we can help you with that, and that's what we're here for. If you're interested in joining us at MPG, our home base is at Whiteland Raceway Park in Indianapolis, and you can contact us at info@willpowerkart.com, and one of our great people will reach out to you, and we'll try to put the best program together.
All right, we are back here at Newcastle Motorsports Park for King of the Castle. The scale line has released, and we've got our top 4 finishers from the Pro OKN Stars division. Let's send it downstairs to Alexander Searle and Caleb Vieska.
Thank you, Xander. I'm here with Alex Stanfield, finished 4th in the race. Alex, it was a rough start for you, moved all the way back down to 9th, and now you worked your way back up to 4th. Talk to us about your race.
Yeah, I started second, and stayed second up until scoreboard, and yeah, I got kind of bulldozed off the track a little, and I think went down to 9th and recovered up to 4th. And I knew I had a good go-kart all race, just kept picking off positions one by one. Just a shame what happened on the start.
Alrighty, thank you, Alex. Coming up next with Brandon Carr. Brandon Carr finished 3rd. Brandon finished 3rd. Just talk to us about your race. How'd it go?
Yeah, we finally found a little bit of speed, so we just stayed there at the front and came where we came, really. It was a very good weekend, to be fair, to see how it all started. So pleased with the result, and go on to the next one and see what we can do there.
Sounds good. Thank you, Brandon. You're good to go. Wheeler finished 2nd. Great weekend from you. Started on pole, I believe, today. Finished 2nd. How'd your race go? How do you feel?
Yeah, the race went well. I got out to the lead at the first lap and just kind of held it from there. And just halfway through the race, Aiden passed me, and he just had a little bit more pace than me the whole race. And we kept an even gap towards the end. Thought his kart would fall off a little more, but didn't end up happening. But it was a good race.
Sounds good, man. Great stuff. Good to see you. Here with our race winner, Mr. Fox. Welcome to the winner's circle. How does it feel? Much taller than me. I don't know what they feed these guys, but great race by you. How does it feel being on the winner's circle?
Man, I mean, it feels great. Super happy, super grateful. Honestly, wasn't expecting it coming in this weekend. We had some engine issues with GoPro, just on the wrong package, but we switched to TM and things were looking up. Just couldn't get luck on our side, and in the final we finally got everything together, and I'm just super grateful. Thanks to my dad, my whole team, and everyone who supports me.
Sounds good, man. Congrats. Good to see you up here. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Caleb, there. Congratulations, Aiden Fox, and nothing feels better than when you end your weekend on the session that everything finally falls into place. For everyone here at the Stars Championship Series, the Newcastle Motorsports Park track staff, and Simon Sykes, myself, and all of us here at Kart Chaser, thank you for watching. We'll see you in 6 days from Salt Lake City, Utah for the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour.